little too much.
True, man.
Give me 5 Draymond Greens, and I'll win an NBA championship. Ricky Fowler, do it in a major. Also, nice mullet, a.k.a. a Kentucky waterfall, a mud flap, a Tennessee waterfall, a beaver paddle. Dan, report. The Lakers are interested in pursuing Kyle Lowry, otherwise known as Fall Guy. The back of his jersey will read Fall Guy. Dan, Chris Long retired over the weekend. You know what that means? It means we've lost one of the good guys. Brooks Koepka on a tiger-like run, and no one cares because he's Brooks Koepka. For some reason, when I hear a team is interested in Mike Conley Jr., I yawn. Headline, Zeke Elliott believes the Cowboys have a lot of the right pieces. May. A tradition unlike any other, Le Batard, after a show event, having a deep, introspective, philosophical breakdown of what we could have done better. I mean, that didn't take long to get to. Jeez. We're back to the green room afterwards, and that was the party that was happening.
You threw a bottle. You were a little frustrating this weekend, to be fair.
I know, I understand.
Yeah, to have that observations after not showing up for rehearsals.
I got it. I got it, man.
No, but I'm just saying, like, if we really examine it, the idea that Cody didn't do anything right and was just complaining about rehearsal the whole time. Again, we're gonna say it again. Was just complaining about a rehearsal that he needed more than anyone, and then he blew his first things, and then you came out and you ruined the first 3 jokes we had set up because you missed rehearsal. Like, that can be hard after something like that.
I understand. So what we could have done better is me and Greg Cody. I mean,
It could have been less, slightly less.
But
you
that's
and
my
Greg
point.
Cody.
But that's what I'm trying to tell you. You don't need to sit around for hours. You know, introspective.
My
It's just me
feelings
and
were
Cody.
hurt. My feelings were. Mike worked really hard on that.
You did great.
You stole 3 of the jokes as soon as we got there after telling him, after missing the rehearsal.
You crushed it.
Mike is sitting there saying to you, he's just saying to you, these are the 3 things you got to do. And you're like, I got it. And then you get them all wrong.
Hey, quick throwing barbs at me. I mean, you weren't exactly Lin-Manuel Miranda out there. Just... Anyway. Dustin Johnson going under par all 4 rounds and still losing a tournament by 2 strokes to a guy who had 6 bogeys in the final round. You know what that's called, Dan? Golf. DJ. Brooks Koepka led the PGA from start to finish. Dan, you know what that means?
No.
He led wire to wire. You were Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I was not
shaking.
good. I was not good.
Double chin Manuel Miranda. How about that?
I will admit that Mike spent the evening after that poor performance by me calling me Pujols. That the show is just dragging around the carcass of Pujols.
You know what the R.I.P. in Rip City stands for? Rest in peace. Just a quick update so we're all on the same page. The Western Conference Finals has started, and the Eastern Conference Finals has not. Dan, if the Raptors win tomorrow night, you know what they will have done?
No.
Hold serve. Harold Varnum, the 3rd golfer, started the day in the final pairing. 2nd place, staring at over $1 million in prize money. And finished.
He's tired. Okay?
In next to last
You know
place.
what happened?
He's tired from
Mike, you
missing
wrote it
rehearsal.
wrong.
What happened? He's tired of missing
You wrote it
rehearsal
wrong.
I
because
wrote
he
it
was
wrong.
in New York
Here's
for 12
no.
hours.
He didn't do any of his weekend observations, which is why it's happening at 52.
Snorting?
No.
It's a snorting,
No,
shooting, it's supposed to say.
What screwed you up was, parenthetically, you wrote find score as a helpful note to yourself.
Find it. Anyway, he only won $41,000, otherwise known as Tough Day at the Office, HV3. Koepka, sounds like a dish you have at a Passover Seder. Don't believe me? Just ask Tariq Cohen and Juju Smith-Schuster. Rob Pelinka, I know you've got a host of other issues, and you are probably prioritizing changing that whole backstabber narrative. But, dude, you got to fix that haircut, brother. Brand the Broken, sitting around for 8 seasons, doing none of the work, yet standing tall at the end, even though he can't stand. The Stugotz is strong in you. Also, Grey Worm, take a chill pill, man. I've never heard an ovation like the one I heard when Stephen A. Smith surprised the crowd at the Gramercy, except for the one I heard from the Codys when they saw the size of the beers at the Gramercy. Don't believe me? I don't know why I said that again. Brooks Koepka, the rare 6-bogey final round without a side of choking. Headline, Kawhi Leonard shrugged off injury after Game 3. The shrug was his quote. Game of Thrones fans complaining about a final episode after getting 8 seasons of the greatest TV show of all time. Game of Thrones fans, the Stugotz is strong in you.
Get to the joke.
Also, go to hell, and when you get there, say hello to Art Briles for me. Those are the weekend observations.
Oh, God.
We will talk to you mañana. This was the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Stugotz here. Hiring is challenging, but there's one place you can go where hiring is simple, fast, and smart. That place is ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter sends your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards, but they don't stop there. With their powerful matching technology, ZipRecruiter scans thousands of resumes to find people with the right experience and invites them to apply to your job. And right now, our listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. That's ZipRecruiter.com/DAN. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Progressive presents Get Pumped. Inspiration to help you do insurance stuff.
Hey, are you just gonna stand there and let people not give you credit for being a good driver? You deserve discounts on car insurance, and that's what Snapshot from Progressive is for. So why aren't you signing up? You need music to get pumped? Hit it! Drum solo! Ow, that hurts my fingers.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California, North Carolina, or from all agents.
The all-new halftime.
Phil, we're going to talk about the rigged lottery that occurred in 1985.
The team whose logo is in this envelope will have the first pick in the NBA draft.
Dave DeBuscher.
The second pick in the 1985 NBA draft goes to the Indiana Pacers.
The horseshoe works. Basketball is back in New York City, my friend.
Like, I'm not one of those guys that just locks into a conspiracy theory and is just all aboard.
No, you make up your own conspiracy theories. That's what you do. You don't glom onto somebody else's. You come up with your own completely crazy conspiracy theory.
To anyone who thinks the 1985 draft lottery was not fixed in order to get Patrick Ewing to last place Knicks, they can just get off my lawn.
Every weekday from 12 to 2, only on ESPN 95.3.
You're born amazing, and at Baptist Health, we want to keep you that way. In fact, that's our mission, to not only provide the most skilled doctors and nurses to heal you from sickness or injury, and comprehensive care to support your recovery, but also to be your guide to health. Also, you can keep on inspiring, keep on reaching, and keep on amazing. For the care that keeps you amazing, visit Baptist-Health.com.
0% financing and huge spring savings on new Buicks at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. The 2019 Buick Encore, only $18,999 or just $299 a month. That's a 2019 for under $19,000. Or get 0% financing for 72 months on most Buick models, including the Cascada, Encore, Regal, LaCrosse, and Envision. Spring into savings at the #1 Buick dealer in the country, Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Kick off the season the right way with a new RV from Crabtree RV in Alma. Crabtree is extending our RV show pricing all season long. Check out our spring show specials like a Salem 207 with a slide and bunks for $147 a month. And with RV show pricing, you can take up to $10,000 off of MSRP on new travel trailers and up to $15,000 off new fifth wheels. And we'll still give you more for your trade than the other guys. At Crabtree RV in Alma, where your family's dreams come true.
What do you get when you pull into Tony's Tire Service? You get the best selection of tires for any car, truck, or commercial vehicle. Tony's Tire Service has Cooper tires and is ready to serve you to get you back on the road safely. They'll also get your vehicle fixed with brake replacements plus an alignment with the best repair guy in the area. Tony's Tire Service has been serving the River Valley for over 34 years. Come let our guys replace your tires with Cooper tires and our service department to make sure the vehicle has the best brakes and alignments. Tony's Tire Service, 7200 South 28th Street in Fort Smith. Service you can depend on.
At Shelter Insurance, we know landlords have to keep up with their renters, even if they're related.
Mom, Dad, what a surprise! We just dropped by to pick up your
rent check.
Oh, I'm running a little short this month.
Not everything works as smoothly as Shelter's renter's policy. It helps cover stuff in case of fire, theft, and more.
Maybe I should just move back home. Don't you love me? Oh, of course.
But now your room's Dad's man cave.
Oh, man.
Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Call me, Ted McAvoy, in Van Buren.
In Fort Smith, call me, Jeff Clark.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
The weather for today, we're looking at fair conditions for the most part. Now, there may be a few stray thunderstorms popping up, especially the further south as you go by the afternoon and evening. Heading for a high today, upper 70s north, mid-80s south. Isolated showers or a thunderstorm tonight with lows through the 60s. Increasing chances for storms tomorrow, some of those severe. I'm Jennifer Naramore with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by Hertz Car Sales, 2810 Midland Boulevard in Fort Smith. You can call them today at 783-1722 or check them out online at buyfromhertz.com.
Radio station.
KERX, Paris, Fort Smith, from the Bush and Bushlight Studios. This is ESPN 95.3. Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here.
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas? Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry. You know, anything travels that far, ought to have a damn stewardess on it, don't you think?
With Phil Elson.
You do a fantastic job on the radio. There's no one else in this league I'd rather listen to, so keep up the good work.
And Tye Richardson.
Tye, I love the way you talk, buddy.
Raise that bright red flag to the skies. 423 miles away, the Emerald City awaits. The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Hey, hold on, it's almost halftime.
Halftime is at the SEC baseball tournament. Yes, we are. Just as we knew we would be. And even knew about a little more than a week ago, that we would not have to worry about a game on day one in Hoover at the SEC tournament. Arkansas already, by the time they got into College Station last week, had clinched a bye in the first round and made sure they didn't have to worry about playing a single elimination game, moving right to the double elimination round. In something that I'll get into later on in hour number 2 is one of the more difficult things to describe, the format of the SEC tournament. It's a lot easier to describe the format of the College World Series, the two-pod format where one team comes out of each pod and then you play a best 2 out of 3 for the championship. Now the SEC tournament has got a single elimination round going into a double elimination round, goes back to single elimination again on the weekends, and then it's a winner-takes-all game on a Sunday that so many people tell you you don't want to be playing in if you want to be set up to make a deep run in the NCAA playoffs. So it's like you want to be here, you want to play well, you want to win some games, but you don't want to win everything, or at least go all the way to the end. If you do make it to Sunday's championship game, I mean, at that point, you just play to win the game, even though you're probably not going to use any of your dudes that day, any of your best pitchers, whether they're relievers or starters. But if you get there, then it's I guess you can look at it as a feather in your cap and a chance to win a championship. But with this week for Arkansas, it's all about trying to shake off what you just saw against Texas A&M. For a lot of the other teams that are here, for Tennessee, for Florida, for Missouri, for the Auburn Tigers, for the Ole Miss Rebels, these are teams that are trying to put themselves in position to not worry about what next Monday brings when the NCAA Selection Committee releases the bracket of the best 64 teams. Those are some teams that might think that they still have to make a statement with a win or 2 or even 3 against an SEC team to pad that resume. Arkansas is not in that position. Yeah, you could be in a position like Texas A&M where you're thinking we might need a win or two to cement our role as a legitimate regional host. LSU perhaps looking at it the same way, though. I think LSU, after winning another series this past weekend, looks like a regional hosting team. Arkansas, for me, the case is already made. Though you can't hurt your case by winning a couple of games for trying to be a national seed. I still think that by this point the resume speaks for itself. You've had enough victories against really good clubs. You've won 7 series in the SEC. You've had more wins than losses on the road. You've won 20 SEC games. I think the case is made that Arkansas is going into the NCAA postseason one of the best 8 teams in the country. Now, whether that's true or not, whether they actually are one of the last 8 teams standing and therefore thought of as one of the best 8 teams in the country, well, that's all going to play itself out over the next 3 weeks. But what happens this week in Hoover, for me, doesn't really add or detract from that conversation for Arkansas. Tye, what I think this tournament is all about for the Razorbacks is trying to show, or at least get past. It's not like they're trying to prove anything to fans or to themselves. I think by this time you've won 40 regular season games, quickest you've ever done that. You're a winning team, but that means you're a winning team up until now. And as we talk about, I mean, in basketball, in baseball, your legacies are written in the postseason. And so the postseason really starts next week in a regional. Right now you got to get a little bit of the stink of College Station off of you. And it's not, hey, College Station smelled just fine. There were just a couple of spots where I ran outside that didn't smell very good. But for the most part, College Station smelled good. The Razorbacks playing in College Station didn't smell so good either. They did not look like the team that had reeled off, 14 wins in 16 games, winning some low-scoring ball games, winning some high-scoring ball games, getting the clutch base hit, getting the really good starting pitching, making all the plays in the field. Now, you didn't really see much of that, if any of that, this last weekend. You saw a lot of home runs, 7 of them, but all the runs you scored came on the homer. 10 runs, all on the home run. Now, it's great when you're a home run hitting team when you hit home runs. But when you don't hit home runs, and if you do hit home runs but there's nobody on base, being a home run hitting team can only go so far. We saw that at times last year with the Arkansas lineup that was too reliant on the home run and failed to make contact in some legitimately big situations. So seeing all the strikeouts over the weekend, 44 strikeouts over the 3 games at Texas A&M, it's a little bit of an alarm, maybe not an alarm bell, but it's like you can see the alarm bell right now. And then although you get a great performance from Isaiah Campbell on Thursday, and that's just what you come to expect from Zay right now, there was still some shakiness from Patrick Wicklander and even from Connor Noland, although Connor looked great for 3 innings on Saturday against Texas A&M, but Dave Van Horn said he thought that A&M was on him in the 5th inning, so that's why he pulled him a little bit early. I'm a little, I wouldn't say worried is the thing, but I focus a little bit more on the starting pitching right now because I think the lineup will take care of itself. 4 errors on Saturday, all in 4 innings. Casey Martin booting an easy double play ball. Jacob Nesbitt doing the same. These are guys that have been making these plays for most of the season, and Martin's really become a good shortstop of late. Tye, I think for whatever happens here in Hoover, and Arkansas plays at 1 o'clock on Wednesday against the winner of tomorrow's Missouri Ole Miss game, for me, yeah, you want to go out and you want to win games, but I think really you just want to play good baseball. You want to get a good start from whomever it is that Dave and Matt Hobbs choose to throw out there on Wednesday. And Isaiah will pitch on Thursday. I don't think there's a doubt about that. You want to see more of a contact-oriented lineup that can score runs in different ways than the homer. And you want to see the guys making the plays. Essentially, you want to get the stink of College Station off of you.
Yeah, and it felt like after this weekend there was more negatives that were taken away than positives. And if you look at the season overall, there's so many positives that you can look at this year, where it's Isaiah Campbell's emergence. You can look at Trevor Ezell coming over and just really supplementing that lineup, just looking great. But this weekend, I've just felt like the overall outlook from the fan base is they were looking more at the negatives than the positives. And I know games 2 and 3, you didn't get what you wanted out of your pitching, and the hitting just wasn't there. The most troublesome thing for me was I think it was the 6th or 7th inning in game 2 when you had no outs, and you had the bases loaded, and you couldn't get a single hit out of that. I think Christian Franklin got a bad strike 3 call. I don't know what your vantage point is.
I thought so, too.
Yeah.
I know the one you're talking about.
And I'm watching that on TV, and I'm sure you're calling it live, and you're watching the replay on TV. I still, to this day, don't know how that was called strike 3, and they just couldn't get anything after that. And so that worries you a little bit. But, Phil, I mean, there were some positives you can take out of it. Let's look at one. This is the first team outside of LSU that's won back-to-back division titles. Arkansas and LSU are the only teams in SEC history on the western side of the bracket to do that. Number 2, this is the most conference win you've ever had under DVH. 20 wins. Now, you didn't get 22 like that 99 team that won the regular season SEC, but still, I mean, that's an incredible accomplishment. And 3, how about Connor Nolan's play? SC top 10. That was incredible. You got to see it live. I got to watch it on TV. That was phenomenal. I just felt like because you lost game 2 and 3, that fans were a little disappointed. And that is because of the expectations of this baseball team and how good they've been playing. As you mentioned, they've won 14 and 16 prior to that. And so you kind of play the catch-22 game where, yes, there are negatives this weekend, but overall, you're still in a really good spot. So, I mean, you kind of want to brush aside what you're saying, what you saw in games 2, 3 at College Station. Do what you got to do in Hoover, and then get ready for the regional game, Phil.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at it 2 ways, and I think that's how all of us are looking at this right now. One, you've got a team in the long perspective of the season, and especially the 10 weeks of the SEC regular season, which really does it runs you through a grinder. To win 20 of those 30 games is so difficult to do. And I think any fan that's even closely followed this program is aware that they hadn't won 20 games in a league in a league regular season since 1999. So
I mean, that's 20 years, Phil.
It is,
and they've had good baseball teams since.
It's
then.
An achievement to win 2/3 of your games against these teams that you're playing week in and week out. Also, Arkansas went 11-7 against their division, and the Western Division is the tougher of the 2 divisions, so that goes along with it. And then there's also the long perspective of, well, where do you sit on the national scene? And that's something we'll talk about with Kendall Rogers later on in this hour. Kendall, the editor from D1Baseball.com, he's here in Hoover. He'll be covering the SEC tournament for D1 Baseball, so we want to get his perspective on where he thinks the Razorbacks sit in the national seed conversation. And I wouldn't play spoiler here, but just to say he thinks they're in pretty good shape. So there's that. These 2 things are all positives, but we're also prisoners of the moment. You know, the what just happened in front of you, and what just happened in front of you was potentially the last 2 games, potentially the worst you might have played in conference this season, especially, man, watching the 4 hours on Saturday. And I know in baseball, and I do think this is mostly in the field, a fairly fundamentally sound ball club. But you see 2 double play balls, easy double play balls, that get booted on Saturday. And to see 2 errors by Casey Martin in the same game. These were moments that a winning team on that day makes those plays. And 8 to 9 times out of 10, Casey Martin and Jacob Nesbitt, who made the error on the other double play ball, make those plays. That's one of the reasons this team had done so well from the early portion of April until the middle of May. So when you're looking at this right in front of you, you're thinking, look, I mean, these bases loaded opportunities with nobody out and you're not making contact, having trouble driving in runs with 2 outs and guys in scoring position, all of these hallmarks of winning baseball games, all of these hallmarks that for the previous 9 weeks, for the most part, you saw them make these plays, come through with those base hits, make contact when they needed to. That's why I can understand the trepidation that a fan would have going into the postseason from a couple of rough days. But that's also, hey, in baseball, momentum is a funny thing in baseball because it can be broken just like that. And so can slumping baseball, so can bad baseball. Sometimes days off come at the right time. This team earned a bye by winning 20 regular season conference games. So they already are. They were the first team here. We always are the first team here. They don't have to worry about anything tomorrow. A few of the guys took yesterday just to go fishing. They didn't have to practice. They didn't have to do anything. Just rest. Have a weekend day, guys. Enjoy it. Today, practice at Samford University. Tomorrow, same thing. Get back into game mode. Start playing baseball again on Wednesday and start acting like, and my perspective is always it's just a game. But now you're starting acting like your life depends on it, because that's what postseason baseball's about.
Yeah, it's a business trip. And I think one of the things you also have to consider is they're going to be in Hoover. You're going to be in Hoover these next couple days. We'll see how long it lasts. But, Phil, you're not going to play a road game until you get to Omaha. And based on the attendance last year, that's not even necessarily going to be a road game for the Razorbacks. And I know that you didn't necessarily like what you saw from Connor Nolan and Patrick Wicklander on Friday and Saturday, but let's remember, these guys at home comparatively to on the road for freshmen, and we got to remember they're also freshmen, which is going to kind of be interesting to see what they do in postseason, but Connor's record at home is a lot better, and his pitching has been a lot better at home than it has been, and Wicklander's the same way, and that's just pretty prevalent amongst baseball players, basketball players, football players. You just play better at home. But people forget, like, Arkansas's not going to play a road game the rest of the way. You got neutral side in Hoover, a home series at regional, you win that, home series, super regional, Baum Walker, and then you got a neutral side in Omaha. And based on the attendance last year, you hope fans travel out, and hopefully you try and get what you weren't able to get last year, which is College World Series title. And I'm telling you, if they get back to Omaha, it's not like the Hog fans are just going to forget what happened last year. They're going to make the trip, and they're going to get up there.
Well, a 27-6 record at home this year. I think going into the tournament last year, they'd lost only 3 home games, so they were a little more dominant at home last year than this season. I also think the schedule at home was a little bit tougher this year. I wanted to touch on something you'd mentioned about Wicklander and Nolan. They both. I wouldn't say Connor struggled. I would say Wicklander did. I mean, the first 2 batters homered off of him. He worked consistently behind in the count. He threw to 11 batters and only threw the first pitch strike to 3 of them, and missed on the first pitch to 7 of the first 8. So, I mean, he's consistently working behind in the count. That's been 2 starts in a row. And even for somebody like Wicklander, who I think there's a confidence thing with him when he's working ahead in the count, where he just is more overpowering when he's in that situation. Some pitcher, and he at some point will be able to make that pitch when he's behind in the count, but he really needs to get ahead, and throwing strike 1 on either of the first 2 pitches is huge for him. But that didn't happen against Texas A&M, and it didn't happen against LSU either. For Connor, I thought Connor probably would have stayed in the game if the Razorbacks had capitalized on even one of those scoring chances in the 3rd or 4th inning on Saturday, in which they ended up leaving 5 runners on base and had a bases loaded 1-out opportunity and couldn't come through. I think if it was more than a 1-run lead and it looked like he might have a little issue in the 5th inning, they might have stuck with him a little bit longer, because his stuff looked pretty good. He was ahead of the count. He only threw 33 pitches in the first 4 innings, so, I mean, he was really economical. I thought Connor actually pitched well. But they pulled him a little bit early. So, I mean, because Wicklander barely pitched at all on Friday, what did I have him at here? I mean, I think he threw 27 or 30 pitches. There's a good chance that Wicklander will start the first game of the tournament here on Wednesday.
And that's the question that was posed to me this weekend. I said, I'm going to ask the baseball co-host of the show on Monday, has Connor Nolan done enough to be put in the 2nd spot of the lineup ahead of Wicklander heading into postseason play? And this is more reference to the regional, because I don't know how viable that is, if Dave's thought about that at all with Matt Hobbs, but it just seems like that Nolan's been better, especially at home, over Wicklander. But I want to get your take on that, Phil.
I don't have the home statistics in front of me, but there's no doubt he's been more dominant at home and might be more comfortable there. But I also think that because they're different style pitchers, and Nolan is more of a strike thrower, he will allow his fielders to do some work, doesn't really walk a lot of batters. I think there's a little more they feel that they could depend on Nolan in those situations. I still think that it's almost 6 1/2 dozen the other, because you are talking about freshmen, and this is one issue that, going into this postseason, I don't know if it's a shaky part of the foundation or if it's just something to pay attention to and know going in, that when you have 2 true freshmen in the starting rotation and the other pitcher is a real ace, I mean an A-list college baseball Friday night dude.
Like Dos Axis on
Like Dos
Friday.
Axis is, but
Yeah.
also like Isaiah Campbell is.
Mm-hmm.
But when the other two are freshmen who have had their ups and downs, and everybody's going to have their ups and their downs, but it just seems a little more roller coaster with Nolan, and maybe even more so Wicklander than Connor Nolan. That's one thing that does make you raise your eyebrow a little bit.
And that's kind of what was weird last year. You remember when, and I know Brady Singer didn't have great success against the Razorbacks, but you remember when it was him versus Campbell. And Campbell, when his stuff's on, it was incredible. And that's why I think Arkansas fans were a little scared heading into that Florida matchup, because you had a first-round dude that you knew was going to bring it going up against Isaiah Campbell. And what happened? Isaiah Campbell probably played, his best game of the year last season against Florida, and Singer got stroked. And so you're just hoping that you see that. I know he wasn't a freshman last year, but you're hoping that even if you run into a stud pitcher in the second or third game of the Super Regional when he would be facing off against a true freshman, you hope the same similar thing kind of happens where either Nolan or Wicklander just play out of their minds and that other guy just doesn't have it that day.
I want to go to Robert in Fort Smith in just a moment, but there is something to the Brady Singer thing. Arkansas saw Brady Singer 3 times over his career, and I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but there was something about Arkansas against Singer. He was dominant against everybody else. But Arkansas crushed him every time they faced him. They beat him 3 times. They crushed him. I mean, his ERA against Arkansas was something like 12 in his 3 starts. His ERA against everybody else was in the low 2s. I don't know what it was. I do know what it was, but I'm not going to get into it. Let's go to Robert in Fort Smith. We can get into it with him. What's up, Robert?
Hey, guys. I'm going to be a little different than most of your fans with those 2 losses. I'm all right with it because I think they need to get their heads back on and beat, because they've been beating people fairly well, hitting the ball. Because now we're in the grind. It's 2 and done. 2, you're gone. And I know everybody, Super Regional. You don't play well, Stony Brook can come in here. And I'm not just saying Stony Brook, but a team like Stony Brook can come into this regional and take it from us. It's been done. You've got to, you have to have your head on the swivel now. It's time to play.
Yeah, I think you make a good point, Robert. I mean, even the best teams in the country, major leagues, college baseball teams, have bad games, and that's why the sport of baseball is not a sport that's built upon one-game failure. Usually, it's series-based, and you're usually given the opportunity to bounce back after one bad game. But you're right, you can't do it. You really can't have those kind of games 2 or 3 times. And I also don't think, and this was the other thing about the A&M series, things kind of fell apart where you didn't get the starting pitching that you needed. You didn't get the kind of production in the lineup that you usually had been getting in certain situations that they'd come through previously. And then, there was the faltering in the field as well. These factors all came together over the course of 2 games in the same time period. And I've seen Arkansas win games where their starting pitching hasn't been good, or the bullpen has given up the lead, or they haven't really put up a ton of runs and taken advantage of their opportunities to score, but they still found a way to win. It didn't happen these last 2 days, so I'm hoping, what you would hope is that you got those days out of your system. You get the days with the 4 errors out of your system. You get the day with the 18 strikeouts out of your system. You get the 2 games where you didn't get your starters into the 6th inning, or one of them even into the 3rd inning. Get it out of your system. And then maybe if it happens during the postseason, then there's something that kind of picks up the pieces where if Wicklander for some reason doesn't have his command and they need to pull him in the 2nd inning, then the bullpen is fresh and can keep you in the game, like Cole Ramage did on Friday. But then the lineup needs to take care of business and do what you expect them to do, which essentially is just outslug a team. I do think eventually they're going to need to outslug a team, like a 10-8 ball game, an 11-7 game in a regional or a super regional. There's going to be a game or 2 where they're going to need to win just like that, and they are built to win that sort of ball game. All right, well, here's what we got coming on halftime today. As we mentioned, Kendall Rogers is joining us at the bottom of this hour. We'll get with the editor of D1Baseball.com on a look where Arkansas sits across the landscape for college baseball. 3 Up, 3 Down, also hour number 2. And Kevin McPherson join us to talk about some basketball. Of course, there's also a big hire made by Eric Musselman, a new assistant coach. Dana Crutchfield coming over from Oklahoma University. So lots to talk to. But before we go into the break, I want to welcome on a new sponsor onto halftime here, and that's Nick and Ellie Glidewell Real Estate Agents. And when it's the time to sell your home, Nick and Ellie can get you the top dollar, and the real estate market right now is hot. They are really aggressive with their marketing of real estate. They have the best in professional photography and video, plus a fleet of drones that can get all of the perspective that you need around this piece of real estate, plus 3D virtual home tours. They've been helping people buy and sell their homes for over 10 years, and Nick and Ellie Glidewell truly love what they do. You'll see that in their work. They advertise their clients on social media, TV, radio, the paper, and much more. Find them on Facebook or Instagram or their website. That's nickandellie.com. Nick and Ellie Glidewell Real Estate Agents. We'll come back with halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Tye Sports Radio. This is the Morning Rush.
We're speaking with Eric Musselman, the head coach of the Razorback basketball team right now on the Morning Rush.
We're going to be able to play with 4 to 5 shooters on the floor during certain stretches of the game, sometimes maybe 3 shooters at a minimum. So I think we're going in the direction that we really have from a vision standpoint.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9, only on ESPN 95.3.
The best TV experience in the nation is available locally with personal service from WOW World of Wireless, your neighborhood professional Dish authorized retailer. Dish has the Hopper 3, the most advanced DVR, and delivers a premium viewing experience. Tired of running out of DVR space? With the Hopper 3, you can record up to 2,000 hours of your favorite programming and watch your very own favorite channels and DVR recording anywhere you go on your phone or tablet. Call now, WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474 for more details. Or stop by our location at the corner of Phoenix and Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith, or visit us online at shopwownow.com. Get the Hopper 3 today by calling WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474. Or online at shopwownow.com.
Monthly equipment fees and other restrictions apply. Recording hours vary. 2,000 hours based on SD programming. Remote viewing requires internet connection and compatible mobile device.
Hi folks, Larry Rath here with a better way to drive at Rath Auto Resources. We're out to break every record in May with the biggest Memorial Day sale ever. It's huge. It's too big for a day. It's huge. Too big for a weekend. It's huge. It's going to take all month to get this done and some of the best incentives ever. We've marked down every vehicle on the lot with discounts up to $3,300 below retail. To save even more, look for the vehicles with the green special stickers on the windshield and get state sales tax paid. If you're keeping the car you have, let our Meineke Car Care Centers take care of it for you with buy 3, get 1 free on all tires, free AC checks, and 10% off all AC work. So visit us today and take advantage of discounts up to $3,300 and state sales tax paid on select inventory during the biggest Memorial Day sale ever. It's huge at Arkansas's #1 rated and reviewed independent dealer, Rath Auto Resources, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online, rathauto.com.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase price affects trade allowance.
Arkansas Fuel Injection in Fort Smith has been providing quality work for all new and rebuilt diesel pumps and injectors for over 25 years. They are a certified diesel shop with a team of quality technicians that ensure the highest quality workmanship and warranties all their work. They are open Monday through Friday 8 to 5 and has emergency service available 24 hours a day. For all your diesel pump, fuel injection, and parts needs, stop by Arkansas Fuel Injection, 6300 South 29th Street, Fort Smith. Call them today at 1-800-817-7709. Arkansas Fuel Injection.
True Grit Running Company is where perseverance meets passion. Whether you're training for your next marathon or just comfortable shoes to keep up with your kids, we have the gear to help you reach your goals. With our slow motion gait analysis and our extensive product knowledge, we have the right pair of shoes for you. We also carry apparel, nutrition, hydration accessories, injury prevention gear, and recovery products. We offer classes, workshops, and group runs. Lace up, show up, and get your grit on. True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
Hardee's used to think bowls were useless dishware. Then we created the new Loaded Hash Round Bowl. Crispy potatoes, fluffy eggs, sausage gravy, melted cheddar, and crumbled bacon. Now part of our 2 for $4 mix and match deal. No longer are bowls just college football games you can nap to. Now they're loaded with Hardee's delicious breakfast favorites and in our 2 for $4 mix and match. Try a bowl today. They're actually really useful. Hardee's, because it tastes better.
Available for a limited time during regular breakfast hours at participating restaurants. Tax not included. Price and participation may vary.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
And Ezell hits a drive to deep left field. That one is way out of here. And Trevor Ezell with the 3-run homer. Well, we've been wondering when there would be more coaches for Arkansas basketball. Eric Musselman had been sitting with just one assistant coach for a few weeks there. Corey Williams coming over a few weeks back, but now there's not just an assistant coach, it's an associate head coach to kind of help round out the coaching staff a little bit. Still one more spot open after Chris Crutchfield slides over from Oklahoma, where he'd been the associate head coach under Lon Kruger for 8 seasons and has been around college basketball under a lot of different atmospheres. I mean, he's been a junior college head coach, an assistant coach at low-level Division I, and now high-level Division I at OU, guy that knows how to find a lot of talent, and it seems like it's another good get for Eric Musselman. I mean, it doesn't, any of the hires, any of the players that have signed on since Muss's hire, everything looks like it's received well, and honestly, you get somebody coming over from OU who has been as instrumental in bringing special talent in, like Trey Young and like Buddy Hield. That's a good get. Seems like a good way to keep the coaching staff rolling along.
Yeah, the Athletic named him one of the top 30 up-and-coming coaches in college basketball, so that's always a good sign when you make that list. You mentioned Trey Young and Buddy Hield. Those are kind of two guys that you know if you're a college basketball fan. Trey Young was absolutely incredible in his one season of college basketball. Buddy Hield, a 4-year guy that really developed his game and then became a premier player, led Oklahoma to a Final Four. That's pretty good. I think it's really hard for us to just dive into a coach that was at a couple other schools and do that, but it looks like a good hire. And for me, Phil, the biggest thing right now that's happening with the basketball program is you're getting national relevance back by not even playing a game. It seems like every national person you talk to loved the Muss hire at Arkansas. This guy now, Chris Crutchfield, seems like he's really respected in college coaching circles. You're not even playing at this point. You haven't stepped on the floor yet in the new era under Eric Musselman, but it seems like there's a lot of goodwill heading your way just from a media perspective. And we know that media can be good and bad depending on how you look at it, but just from this standpoint, that it's looking like a good sign just from the hires he made and just the overall appearance Eric Musselman started out at Arkansas.
But there's still one more coaching vacancy on the staff. You still have room for a third assistant. So it does seem that Eric Musselman is he doesn't rush any hires. He seems to be pretty thorough with who it is that he is going after. He has said, he's interested in coaches that have had experience at all of the different levels. And so, I mean, it's a wide net that he's casting. But it seems to me that he's being careful with whom he hires. Now, we've heard and only heard, and it's been from a couple of sources that we've had on our show before, that he can be a little difficult on assistants. And I don't think it's a matter of personal relationship, but it might be what's expected. It's, he's a pretty intense coach. The practices are legendary for their intensity and for the preparation that goes into each practice and having all of these drills and everything else ready, because they really are going to be going from one thing to the next, one right after the other. It's interesting. I mean, this will be an interesting sidebar alongside whatever happens this next season and in the future, 2 or 3 years down the line, to see if this assistant coaching staff is still the same, because it was rare that it was the same, if ever. At Nevada, kind of each year, there was a different assistant coach or two.
And I was reading an article on Whole Hog Sports last week that said that Eric Musselman plans on assembling his staff by the end of this week. So we'll see if that actually ends up happening, but it looks like he's kind of set a timeline by the time he wants to compile his staff here at Arkansas.
All right, let's step aside. We'll get back to college baseball here in Hoover, Alabama. D1 baseball editor Kendall Rogers coming up next on Halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
More Halftime in just a moment.
Joe's Grill and Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half price. And all beers on tap are half price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina. 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
This Memorial Day weekend, it's the 18th annual Madness in May, brought to you by Come Get You Some and Performance Center, presented by Extreme Diesel. A family fun weekend of off-road competition at Birds Adventure Center in Cass, Arkansas. Live music, a poker run along with great prizes, and all the off-road competition you can handle. All four-wheelers and UTVs, welcome. For event information, call 479-782-6833. Camping info, call 479-667-4066. Madness in May, this Memorial Day weekend, brought to you by Come Get You Some, presented by Extreme Diesel. This is Matt Brown, PGA head golf professional. The 47th annual Ben Guerin 4-Ball is coming up May 31st, June 1st, and 2nd at the Ben Guerin Golf Course. The $150 per person entry fee includes 3 days of golf and a Titleist prize package. This tournament will fill up fast, so call the Pro Shop at 646-5301 or stop by today to reserve your spot in this Fort Smith Classic. Don't forget to check out our Facebook page for all upcoming events, including the ASGA Monk Wade Father-Son Tournament in July. When you think golf, think Ben Guerin.
ProCare Family Health with locations in Bonanza, Chaffee Crossing, and at their new location in Poto. 1103 Dewey Avenue in Poto is your primary care clinic, acting as a principal point of healthcare to patients of all ages. Their emphasis is to educate patients about their health and how to maintain it throughout their lifetime. They are devoted to the best research models so that their patients can get the highest standard of care. ProCare Family Health can assist with weight loss, testosterone injections, diabetes, and cortisone shots. ProCare Family Health, dedicating to meeting your healthcare needs.
What are people saying about Links at Chaffee Crossing? It was by far the best barbecue I've had, along with great sides.
Great place to sit down and watch the game on the TV while you're having your favorite drink or beer.
Come and enjoy Links at Chaffee Crossing. Relaxed atmosphere, great barbecue, burgers, and more. Plenty of TVs to watch the game room with a pool table, along with a full bar and lots of cold beer. Good food and good times are all at Links at Chaffee Crossing, off Custer Boulevard in Fort Smith.
You know, a night out with friends can be so much more. Upgrade your evening at 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Rediscover life's simple pleasures. Dial back, slow down, and immerse yourself in what true relaxation can be. Top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Upgrade your night on the Avenue.
Halftime is brought to you by Orr Auto Park. Score more with Orr. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
The drive by Martin to left field, and there's number 13 for Casey Martin. He hit it into the other building across the way. Whoa!
Well, it's going to be a crazy week in Hoover and really across the country for the conference baseball tournament. For those conferences that do play tournaments, and the SEC is one of them, it's one of the greatest collections of tournament of talent in the country. You can just call it a talent tournament because I seem to get these two words crossed up. Kendall Rogers will be covering the SEC tournament for D1Baseball.com. He's the outstanding editor and one of the lead writers of D1 Baseball, and he joins us right now on Halftime. Kendall, have you made it to Hoover yet?
I have not. I head out this afternoon, and I'm going to try to catch up with some sleep tonight because I have a feeling we're going to have a very long week, to say the least.
Yeah. If you're interested in sleeping, the SEC tournament's first 2 days are not the one for you unless you find a way to get a nap under the counter at the press box. That's not the place.
Yeah, and that's probably not the most comfortable spot, considering it's going to be 93 degrees outside.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice today, but it's going to get up to about 95, 96 by the end of this week. You know, and we had Kyle Peterson on a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about the thought that there's a good chance that for at least 3, maybe 4 of the teams that are here at the SEC tournament, there just isn't a lot to prove. But that doesn't mean that there aren't other teams that can't cement either their spot as a 2 seed or as a regional host. Maybe it's a fallacy sometimes that Hoover doesn't matter, because to more teams than not in this tournament, it really does matter, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does this year. And I agree there are some years where the conference tournament in Hoover doesn't matter that much. But this year is totally the opposite. I think when you look at teams that tomorrow, you look at LSU and A&M, teams that are very much in the first spot. But those teams probably need to win. Pretty good about their chances. I think A&M probably has a little bit more leeway as of now, just because they've got series wins for Arkansas and Vanderbilt. But even those guys, if they lose tomorrow, that complicates their situation a little bit. You have teams like Missouri and Florida who are both at 13 wins in the conference, and as we saw last year in Kentucky, 13 wins in the SEC. Boy, that puts you in pretty tough shape. Kentucky did not get in. The one thing I will say, Phil, is the big difference is last year the bubble was a lot bigger. This year it's a very, very soft bubble. And right now we have Florida and Missouri both in the field. And so, if teams lose and stolen bids, and they're probably knocked out. But if both teams win, I think that really, really helps their situation moving forward. So a lot at stake here over the next 48 hours, I feel like.
Man, I mean, when you look at how difficult it is just to win games in the SEC, and you see, I would always think that 20 wins in the SEC is usually good enough for a national seed. And it seems that could be the case this year. But out of any of the 4 teams, obviously Vanderbilt's going to be a national seed. I think Mississippi State and Arkansas have it clinched too. But do you think that there's a possible chance that Arkansas could fall out as a national seed, or Georgia or Mississippi State?
Boy, I just don't see how you knock any of the 4 out. I mean, you look at Georgia, you look at Vandy, Georgia, Mississippi State, and Arkansas, all with top 6 RPIs. You've got Arkansas with 12 wins against top 50. You got Mississippi State with 14 wins against top 50. Arkansas swept Mississippi State.
Right.
Then you have Georgia with 11 wins versus top 25 RPI, and they 3 weekends without Emerson Hancock. So they still were able to win a lot of games without him. And so I just don't think how you look at either of those 4 teams and look at any scenario out of a top 50. But I've seen stranger things happen. So. I guess we'll find out next Monday if that's the case. I do think for those 4 teams, I think you just continue kind of approaching, the SEC tournament in a way of not, stressing an arm, but also not just throwing in the towel. There have been some teams that have shown up in the past, like Florida, where they've pretty much guaranteed to be the top seed in the NCAA tournament, where they've just shown up and just basically just thrown it out there. I don't think any of those teams are in that position, because I think you want to establish your consistency. But I think they're all in great shape. I mean, I'd be floored right now if Arkansas, for instance, wasn't a national seed. It would be a tragedy.
Kendall Rogers is our guest editor of D1 Baseball here on Halftime. Kendall, one of the things we enjoy in sports, not only the competition, but the kind of the human element side of it. During the series this weekend against Texas A&M, there was an A&M fan that kind of lost his way, and Dave Van Horn called him over, and he kind of clung on his lead. What did you think about DVH comforting the young Aggie fan despite trying to win a pivotal game that day and trying to be focused on the game?
Yeah, sure, that was kind of cool. I wasn't at that specific game, but I saw it, after the game was over, and I saw some of the pictures and kind of the video of it. That's awesome, and that's Dave Van Horn. I mean, it's kind of a funny story for you. When I first started covering college baseball, it was back in like 1999, 2000, and that's when Van Horn had things rolling at Nebraska. I remember he was one of the first coaches that I remember calling to try to get information and quotes from. And he might be, I think he was the first coach that ever actually called me back when I started. I started this thing when I was a senior in high school. And he was one of the first people that called me back. And that's kind of stuck with me forever. And it gives you an idea of what kind of person he is. And so that didn't shock me that he did that. That's kind of, and honestly, why they recruit so well, and also why they're one of the best teams in baseball. And he gets the maximum effort out of his kids because that's the type of person he is. So it's pretty awesome.
So one of the things he was talking about before this season, Kendall, is he thought his team was a little overrated. I think you guys had him around like the 15th or 16th mark in D1 baseball. But when he was saying that, do you think he truly believed that his team was overhyped heading into the season, or do you think he was just kind of using those words more to motivate his team?
Probably a little bit of a combination. I mean, let's face it. I mean, when you look at this team on paper, I think we might have had them as high as 13. I can't remember exactly. I'd have to look back, and I haven't slept in a couple of days, so I don't know off the top of my head. But I think when you look at Arkansas overall, the reason we did not have them top 10 is because we lost a lot of offensive starters. I thought the Kierstad, Martin, Fletcher combo would obviously be very good, but who thought Jack Kinley would become the power hitter that he is after having no home runs the last 2 years? Granted, it was a small sample size. Who thought Matt Goodhart would come in and rake the way he raked? Casey Opitz has developed into a really good role player. And then when you look at the mound, Patrick Wicklander and Connor Nolan have been pretty solid for the most part. And so, those are a lot of pieces that have panned out very easily could not have panned out. The complexion of the team is totally different. So, I think part of it, he was probably trying to motivate his guys a little bit, but I think the other is I don't think he truly really knew what to expect. I mean, cause the thing is, with a good heart, a guy like that or a Jack Kinley is like, you know what, you think Kinley's going to be solid, but like he doesn't have enough reps to make that prediction. And with good heart, like it's one thing to go put up big time numbers in Senior Center Junior College, but it's another to go in the SEC and have that kind of production as well. So those two guys for me have kind of been the unsung heroes. Those two have totally changed the dynamic of this team.
Kendall, when you go into the postseason with two of your three starting pitchers true freshmen, now, and there have been teams before that have had freshmen in the rotation and have made deep runs. I mean, look at Kevin Abel last year with Oregon State, Eric Walker in LSU the year before. I mean, the list goes on, but it's usually just one freshman. And sometimes I wonder a little bit about, because you're looking for consistency. I know Wicklander and Nolan can be very good, and I think they're aces in the next couple of years. Does it give you any pause that two of the starters that Arkansas will be working with are true freshmen?
It concerns me a little bit, and it's not anything they've done or haven't done. I just think when you look at the postseason, throwing out a hypothetical, let's say it's a Sunday afternoon, you're in a clinching game, and you've got Connor Nolan out, and bases loaded out in the eighth inning, and it's a one-run game. That's no longer a situation where you're in the middle of March playing Mississippi State at home. It's your season's over, or you're going to play another game where your season might be over. And so that's just a totally different dynamic. And I have no doubt that the DVH and the staff will have conversations with those younger guys on just the moment, not letting the moment be too much for them. And so that does give me some pause. With that said, I will say this. When you look at Arkansas, they have options if those guys were to falter. I mean, Cole Ramis, obviously, he was a starter last season and would be a guy that, if somebody gets in trouble, he can easily go give them 6 innings on the bullpen if need be. So they've got some options and a kind of room in kind of situations. But, it is learn a little bit when you have two young guys like that in the postseason, because the postseason is just so much different from the regular season.
Well, and with that said, they know they can count on Isaiah Campbell, and that's the thing. And I mean, I've been covering this team for 5 years now, and I felt like a heretic when I said this a week ago, that Isaiah Campbell has had the best pitching season that I've seen at Arkansas in these 5 years. And that includes what we saw from Blaine Knight last season, because he's got him beat in all of the categories except for wins and losses. I think his step forward this year has been humongous, and I think they'll be looking for him to go a little bit deeper into postseason games.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we talked about X factors and why this team's so much better than maybe people expected. Isaiah Campbell's kind of Exhibit A. I mean, he's a guy that, last year, he frustrated me, so I can only imagine how much he frustrated Arkansas fans. But, he would go out there and look like a first-round pick one week, and then the next week walk the field and be all over the place. And really this year, he just hasn't done that at all, the latter. He has been very consistent. And I thought it was telling against A&M. I didn't think he had his best stuff by any means. He still put together a pretty nice outing, and I think had 8 strikeouts. So it gives you an idea of just how good Isaiah is. The situation against A&M to where, I think it was the bunt. A&M had bunted a run in, and he kind of, I wouldn't say he lollygagged the ball, but he could have run a little harder. And you could tell he's frustrated. And that was the kind of a moment I was paying attention to, because in the past, it was one of those situations where maybe unravel a little bit, and back out there and got a strikeout and got out of the inning and kept his composure. But that's kind of the new Isaiah Gable. Really, the way he's pitched this year, that's really helped his pro stock as well. A guy now that I expect to go in the top 2 rounds.
Kendall Rogers is our guest, D1 Baseball. He'll join Phil Elson shortly down there in Hoover, cover the SEC baseball tournament. Kendall, one of the weird things that has kind of been linked to the SEC baseball tournament is LSU has been the only tournament champion that's gone on to win a national championship in the same year. Why do you think the SEC tournament champion has struggled so much to win the national championship?
I think it's just the rigors of the week, man. I mean, that is a long week. I mean, I'll say this: when I head home on Sunday, because I always leave on Sunday morning, just because I have to get back to get ready for selection day. But I mean, when I'm not even playing the games, and when I go home on Sunday, I'm exhausted. And if guys like me, how do you think these players feel? So I think there is something to be said if you're one of those teams who's proven that you're a top 8 seed. I think there's something to be said about not going all out. South Carolina, I think the 2 times they won the national championship, I think they might have gone 0-2 in the SEC tournament and just gone home and gotten ready for the College World Series. So I kind of sit in the middle of the road. I mean, you want to kind of keep your consistent ways going. But I want to sit there all done. I don't know. David and Horn would never have been, but I would.
Ken, we only got about a minute left, so I'll end on this note. Last year, and I think it was December, that you picked Arkansas to win the national championship. Mm-hmm. What's the one thing with this baseball team that concerns you that would prohibit you from picking them to go all the way this year?
Well, it's interesting. I was talking to a pitching coach the other day who faced Arkansas last year and also this year, and he thinks the lineup's better this year. He thinks when you look at the guys like Opitz contributing, you look at Hart and you look at Kinley, and you throw the 3-headed monster. And I didn't even mention Trevor Zilla there, but I mean he might be the X factor. When you combine all those guys together, he thought the lineup was better top to bottom than it was last year with a much better approach. And I agree with that. So I love that aspect. I still love the bullpen. I know Cronin's had some walk issues and whatnot as of late, but I still like the leadership, the veteran innings that got back there. I like the Ramage piece. Again, I think for me is do these 2 freshmen perform at a high level in the season? The thing about it with those 2 real quick is they don't need them to be awesome because Arkansas has the offense where those 2 don't need to be just flawless. But they do need to give them solid starts, whether it's in a regional or obviously a super regional.
Kendall, you're awesome. Always appreciate you joining us. Looking forward to reading everything you got coming up in the next 6 weeks. And we'll get plenty of ice cream and sun-kissed at the Hoover Met over the next few days.
You got it, buddy. See you soon, my man.
You got it. All right, that's Kendall Rogers. Always appreciate his time. Editor and outstanding writer at D1Baseball.com. We will wrap up the first hour of halftime next. This is ESPN Arkansas and HitThatLine.com.
Hold on tight. Missed a segment or interview? Check out the Halftime Pod at HitThatLine.com.
Spring into color at the Paint Store in Van Buren. Your favorite choice for inspiration in choosing those vibrant colors from Richards Paints to finish your warm weather renovations. The Paint Store in Van Buren is contractor friendly and special orders don't upset them. Sue and Vicky, with over 30 years of experience, welcome all your painting questions and will help you feel confident in your choices of Richards Paints. The Paint Store is at 1414 Fayetteville Road in Van Buren. Come and see them or check them out on Facebook today.
Looking to find a team that gives you more than just a place to be a stylist? Supercuts team members take pride in maintaining a positive, professional, and creative workplace. Supercuts team members provide the highest quality for guests by attending training courses at our Hairstylist Academy. Supercuts has been the highest base paid in the market, including time off, commission-based performance pay, great tips, company-sponsored health insurance, and much more. Simply apply online at supercuts.com or contact Joe at 520-203-4316. Colorworks Paint & Body in Barling has a new owner, Andy Herod, and he is ready to make your auto body repairs today. If you live in Barling, Central, Lavaca, or Charleston, Colorworks is your local auto body repair shop. Andy provides superior auto body repair and paint work in addition to working with your insurance company to make your claim as easy as possible. If you have a collision and need repairs, ask for Andy at Colorworks, 1206 4th Street in Barling across from CV's, or call 434-2639.
You know the Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment in Fort Smith is your go-to shop for everything pressure washers. But did you know that they also handle your industrial pump and supply needs too? It doesn't stop there. Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment's industrial vacuum trucks can handle dry, liquid, and even sludge removal from several hundred feet away. Leave the cleanup to the professionals. Contact Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment at 782-3762. That's 782-3762. Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment, 3116 Wheeler Avenue in Fort Smith.
Get lower payments with no money down during the Nissan Summer of SUVs event at Orr Nissan in Fort Smith. Like America's most affordable SUV, the 2019 Nissan Kicks. The Kicks is sporty and good on gas. And today at Orr Nissan, it's 0 down and just $318 a month. Looking for something bigger but still sporty? The 2019 Nissan Rogue Sport is 0 down, $326 a month. And the best-selling SUV in the Nissan lineup, the 2019 Nissan Rogue, is 0 down and only $362 a month. Plus, Orr Nissan is the only dealer in Arkansas that gives you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. So head directly to Orr Nissan at 6520 Orr Park Drive in Fort Smith under the giant American flag.
All offers are for financing. Payments based on 70 months and 4.77%. 0 down. Plus tax and license serve or NissanFortSmith.com for more details.
Nissan, innovation that excites.
Win the battle against weeds with a trip to Metters Lumber True Value. Save now on Roundup Concentrated Weed and Grass Killer. A 36.8-ounce bottle is just $18.99 after a $4 instant rebate for True Value Rewards members. This ready-to-use formula destroys tough weeds and grasses down to the root. It's waterproof in 30 minutes with results in only 12 hours. Don't miss this bargain of the month while supplies last. Metters Lumber True Value. Certain exclusions apply. See store for details.
Looking to upgrade your fleet or needing professional service to your existing fleet? Carco International of Fort Smith offers the latest trucks and equipment in the industry. With over 70 years in the trucking and equipment business, they have the experience to keep you on the road. Carco International offers professional service after the sale. Carco International Parts Department supplies all makes, parts, and gives expert service. Carco International is the answer. Leave it to the pros to keep you on the road. Carco International, located at 2721 Midland Boulevard in Fort Smith.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Kenley, a drive down the right field line. Hooking, stay fair. That ball is out of here. Grand slam, Jack Kenley. The 5th home run for the Razorbacks.
Oh, you're playing my theme right there, Ty. My favorite song to sing to Bubba Carpenter on the baseball broadcast, and maybe I'll need to break it out for Wednesday's game because the booths that we share in Hoover are pretty small. They fit 2 guys and not much else. They can fit the radio equipment in, but Bubba and I our shoulders won't quite be rubbing, but our shoulders would be able to feel each other's presence. So maybe I need to play a little careless whisper for Bubba when he first walks into the booth Wednesday morning.
Compare it to the Baum Walker Stadium press box. Bigger, smaller?
Oh, it's smaller than the booth at Baum, and it's not. Our booths at Baum Stadium are fine. They're normal sized rooms. They're not just like the giant apartments that I had in College Station.
We just like to exaggerate a little bit, just because it's fun to act like your accommodations aren't good enough.
I'd say the booths at Hoover are kind of like efficiency studio apartments compared to the luxury apartment that I had at Bluebell Park at Texas A&M. So, yeah, Bubba and I are going to be sharing some tight spaces. We'll be sharing a lot of breath. We'll be sharing a lot of smells. And so maybe we'll be sharing a careless whisper at the same time.
Just serenade him, man. He'll love that.
He'll go back to Arkansas as quickly as he came. We'll come back with hour number 2 here on Halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Get lower payments with no money down during the Nissan Summer of SUVs event at Orr Nissan in Fort Smith. Like America's most affordable SUV, the 2019 Nissan Kicks. The Kicks is sporty and good on gas. And today at Orr Nissan, it's 0 down and just $318 a month. Looking for something bigger but still sporty? The 2019 Nissan Rogue Sport is 0 down, $326 a month. And the best-selling SUV in the Nissan lineup, the 2019 Nissan Rogue, is 0 down and only $3 $362 a month. Plus, Orr Nissan is the only dealer in Arkansas that gives you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. So head directly to Orr Nissan at 6520 Orr Park Drive in Fort Smith under the giant American flag.
All offers are for financing. Payments based on 70 months and 4.77%. 0 down. Plus tax title licensor or NissanFortSmith.com for more details.
Nissan, innovation that excites.
Get $60 back by mail on a Firestone Visa prepaid card when you buy a set of 4 eligible tires. Get up to $100 when you make an eligible tire purchase with your CFNA credit card. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.
Your Firestone tires are waiting for you at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 and exit 14 in Fort Smith.
Valid now through July 8th. Restrictions apply. Card issued by the Bancorp Bank pursuant to a license from Visa USA Inc., the Bancorp Bank member FDIC, and can be used everywhere Visa debit cards are accepted. Card terms and conditions apply. See store for details. All rights reserved. Subject to credit approval. The Bancorp Bank is not affiliated with CFNA.
At Michelob Ultra, we know it's not just about how much you work out every day. It's about how much you work into every day, too. So we brew our beer for those who realize that expending calories should never come at the expense of spending time with friends. Those who understand that just because you work out doesn't mean you can't go out. And that's why we brew Michelob Ultra to have 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and a crisp, clean taste. Michelob Ultra, brewed for those who live fit, live fun, live ultra. Enjoy responsibly. 2018 Michelob Ultra Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams of protein, and 0 grams fat for 12 ounces.
Tommy Kraft for the Fence Man. Do you own a business that needs more security? Or maybe you just want a better look and more curb appeal? A new fence from the Fence Man can give you both. In business for more than 40 years, the Fence Man can custom install any type of fencing, gates, controlled access, and card readers. Call the Fence Man for a quick, no obligations quote. 479-782-3936. That's 782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Weather overnight fair with clear skies. Our lows in the low 50s north and low 60s south. For tomorrow, we'll get a chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Partly sunny, our highs in the upper 70s to low 80s. A few showers Monday night. Rain and thunderstorms likely Tuesday. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by Hertz Car Sales, 2810 Midland Boulevard in Fort Smith. You can call them today at 783-1722 or check them out online at buyfromhertz.com.
I hate everything you just said.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Bush and Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
They're hilarious.
Good morning, Vietnam! Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas? Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry. You know, anything travels that far, ought to have a damn stewardess on it, don't you think?
With Phil Elson.
You do a fantastic job on the radio. There's no one else in this league I'd rather listen to, so keep up the good work.
And Tye Richardson.
Tye, I love the way you talk, buddy.
Raise that bright red flag to the skies. 423 miles away, the Emerald City awaits. The Hogs are going to Omaha.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Well, before the Hogs go to Omaha, they've got a few other places to visit. And first, and top of the list right now, is Hoover, Alabama, where we are doing the show today from the Hyatt Regency Hotel, also known as the Winfrey. This is the same hotel that I guess everybody in the SEC media will be descending upon in about 7 weeks for SEC football media days. This is the Mecca for all the SEC media. I mean, and this is a great place for it. I mean, every chain restaurant in the country is around here. Every chain store. This would be the place, to spend 3 or 4 days just talking football. I imagine in this very conference room that I am doing the show in today, this is probably where Nick Saban is going to be conducting a bunch of one-on-one interviews with very intimidated media members.
Yeah, and across the street, Phil, I don't think you're going to have much time off on Wednesday night, but there's a dive bar with fantastic karaoke, which a lot of locals, and then when the SEC media members come into town, they flock over there. It's pretty fun.
I'm going to have some time on Wednesday.
Well,
yeah, thanks to South Carolina. And, I mean, let's get right into this, right? Let's get right into our 3 up, 3 down, because this is one of my ups, okay? Strike 3. Good morning, good afternoon, good night.
What does 3 up and 3 down mean to you, Airman?
End of an inning, strike 3.
Nothing was finer than the sound of Carolina baseball beating Mississippi State in the late evening, or the late afternoon, early evening Saturday, after Arkansas lost with their chance, to kind of have a celebration on the field. If you beat A&M on Saturday, then you win at least a share of the division championship, and you can celebrate a little bit. There is the idea of, maybe backing into a division title, and it's difficult to celebrate that. But then again, I don't know how many of the Razorback players or coaches or fans even thought that there was a shot that South Carolina would beat the hottest team in the SEC on a day where that hottest team had a chance to outright win the West Division Championship. Mississippi State had won 8 consecutive baseball games. They'd been dominant. South Carolina had been stinking out the joint. In fact, if I remember, they gave up 24 runs Thursday, 11 runs on Friday, and then Carolina gets out to a 4-1 lead over the first, 4 innings in Saturday's game. We got a chance to watch this because our game against A&M was moved up to 11 o'clock, so that game ended by a little after 2.
Big Cox fans on Saturday, right, Phil?
Huge Cox fans. Huge Cox fans, especially those with that are playing in a game against Mississippi State. So, what do they get up 7-1 in the 5th inning? And you could see, that Mississippi State's got such a great lineup, and they start to creep back a little bit. A couple more runs, though, in the 8th inning for Carolina. We give them a little more of a breathing room. Mississippi State eventually comes back to 10-8 in the 9th inning. They had the go-ahead run on deck when the last batter takes 3 strikes, or 2 strikes and 1 foul ball, a 3-pitch strikeout. A good morning, good afternoon, good night. And that was it. And Arkansas clinches this 2 seed, backing into it because of South Carolina's win over Mississippi State. So, this helps out in so many ways. For one, you are a co-division champion thanks to that Carolina victory. Without the win by the Gamecocks, you'd be a second-place team. There would be no co-championship. And look, I understand the idea of co-championship isn't the same as outright championship, but it's a championship. That's just a fact. That's what it is. And it'll go on the outfield fence as a division title. It's just not an outright title. It's just like last year with Ole Miss. You also get the 2 seed, which means if you were the 4 seed, you would have been playing at 8 o'clock at night on Wednesday. And 8 o'clock at night often turns into about 8:30 or 9, depending on how long the first game of the session goes, if there's any weather delays. We've played that 8 o'clock game, and it hasn't started until 10 or 10:30 a couple of times, so good luck keeping it to 8 o'clock. We're in the sweet spot. We really are in the sweet spot for first pitch times. And Tye and I get a little bit spoiled out of this because our outstanding radio operation that Pearson Broadcasting puts on 3 stations known as ESPN Arkansas also airs all the baseball games. So with a 1 o'clock first pitch on Wednesday, and the Built Ford Tough Dugout Show starts 30 minutes earlier at 12:30, that means your favorite lunchtime radio program, Halftime, only has to do 30 minutes on Wednesday. That's it. And then if Arkansas wins on Wednesday, then they play 4:30 on Thursday. So we would do a full show then. But still, isn't it nice to go into this week, Tye, knowing that you don't actually have to put in a full week? I'll still put in the full week and then some, but you have a chance to just rest a little bit, which I know you probably need that more than me.
Yeah, I actually have an MRI appointment on Wednesday scheduled for my knee, and I know we're going to do, I think, starting Wednesday, the post-game show for Razorback Baseball. But, yeah, it'll be nice. So I'm 100% with you. The sweet spot, that's the best term I've heard all day referring to what's going to happen on Wednesday.
So Carolina's way up for me right now. Way up. That was one of the upsets of the year.
Go
I
Cox.
think in the SEC, to have a team, and Carolina was playing for their postseason life. That victory got them into the SEC tournament. If they would have lost, there's a good chance they were done and we're heading back to Columbia for the rest of the summer. All right, my first down is the New York Mets. This is a team that put a lot of money into the offseason. Getting Robinson Cano in the trade, and they made some big signings in the offseason. With second-year manager Mickey Callaway, there's a lot expected of the team this year. Bringing up outstanding rookie first baseman Pete Alonso. You're getting your starting rotation back healthy with Syndergaard, Wheeler, and DeGrom. But they just they stink right now. They got swept by, of all teams, the Miami Marlins over the weekend and now have lost 5 games in a row. Things are not looking very good for the New York Mets or for Mickey Callaway. There's a lot of rumors that he wouldn't have survived this offseason anyway because the Mets hired a new general manager in the offseason, Brody Van Wagenen, if I'm saying his name correctly. And usually they're going to look to hire their own manager, but they might give the guy that they're inheriting a year. Mickey Callaway might not even make it through the year, as the Mets right now just are not very good. Without Pete Alonso, they're not a team that's got really any pop in the lineup. None of the pitchers have stepped up and thrown the way that had been expected. So I'd say the Mets right now are one of the most disappointing teams in Major League Baseball, and they're way down.
First up for me, I told you a little about it on Friday. Ale on the Border. I had a really good time this weekend at that, thanks to Tim McGuire and Bell Point Brewing for inviting me out there, and had a great time. Got to partake in some free beer. And Phil, I'm telling you, man, 2 fridges at our apartment right now. The food fridge and our mini fridge are filled to the gills with beer. It's I probably have over 200 some odd just like random beers, a lot of them which I've never had before. And then the go-to, the Natter Days, they managed to make their way back to the house a little bit, so I got some of those.
You mean you didn't drink every Natter Day around you like I guess I always expect you do?
By the way, I got some Natter Day stickers for you. Next time I see you, I'll give you a few of those. So
I don't want the sticker before I've actually sampled the beverage. I got to have the beverage first.
Well, that was part of your homework, man. You said if Arkansas won the series against LSU, you'd have one. You didn't. Guess you didn't fall through on the assignment, man.
I guess I haven't stopped by at a nearby location to find me. Maybe I can find some of that stuff here in Alabama.
You've been busy, man. I understand. So if Arkansas wins the SEC tournament, the first stop you have to make when you get back is to get you an Natter Day. Even though I don't know what time it'll be, but that needs to be a decision. But yeah, my buddy Tim, he actually got me a Hawaiian. You know my love for Hawaiian shirts. Well, he got me a Pink Flamingo Natter Day Hawaiian shirt as well, so really appreciate that. It's just a good all-around weekend, so I know that's right smack dab in the middle of baseball for you. I'd love for you to come down and see it, but it was a good time. I'll definitely.
You're all over the place, by the way. I think I'm traveling all the time. I mean, you're like a rolling stone gathering no moss. I mean, you're in OKC, you're in Dallas, you're at this thing, you're at that thing. I mean, you're taking advantage of your youth, Tye, and I'm envious of you.
Well, I got to, because one of the best parts about just being in your younger years is you're not tied down with kids, you're not tied down with marriage or anything like that. You have the opportunity to travel, so I've been trying to take advantage of that. Phil, my first down, Steak and Shake looks like it's closing down. Business Insider magazine reported the chain lost $19 million in the first 3 months.
You mean like the whole chain is going to shut down?
Yeah.
No, we can't have that.
I know, and they lost $10.7 million in 2018. This according to Yahoo. They apparently owe over $7 million to managers that are claiming overtime pay, working 50 to 70-hour shifts, not hour shifts, work weeks that they didn't pay. And they've closed at least 60 stores in recent months. So kind of a bummer because I'm a big Steak and Shake guy. I know we don't have one in Fort Smith, and the one out in Fayetteville is kind of near the mall. But, yeah, that's kind of a bummer because I really enjoy Steak and Shake. And whenever I see one, I try and stop by.
I love Steak and Shake. There's one that's nearby the hotel here in Hoover that I remember eating. So you and I always think about, eating at 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning in Waffle House after a baseball game. But I think it was the 2015 Hogs' second game here in Hoover, go deep into the night against Florida, 1:30 in the morning. Bobby Werniss go-ahead home run, top of the ninth inning. Benintendi had led off that inning with a home run. That game didn't. I don't think I got off the air until about 2 o'clock in the morning. That was a Steak and Shake night. Now, I will say, I don't know if you've noticed this. Maybe it's because the managers were getting screwed by the corporation, but the managers, there always just seem to be. You know how at Chick-fil-A everybody always seems to be happy and ready to help and excited about it, maybe to a point of being annoyed. At Steak and Shake, it just kind of felt like the other way around. Like where at Chick-fil-A, everybody's always saying "my pleasure." At Steak and Shake, it's almost like they weren't saying it to you, but they were looking at you like, "You got a problem?"
Well, it's kind of the stigma with Popeyes, right? You order 3-piece with fries, you'll get a 5-piece dark with mashed potatoes, and that's what you just come to expect.
But you just eat it anyway without saying this is wrong because you're scared of what might happen.
And it's so good you don't really care. I guess Steak and Shake, it's kind of the same way. The food's so good you don't really care about the service, because I've been in there at times it's taken a while, but then I'll get my food for like $7, shake, fries, and a burger. I'm like, I'll deal with the customer service in order to get this food greatness.
All right, so my second up. Do you know Debbie Antonelli? She's a really good basketball analyst on the SEC network. Covers women's basketball and does a little with the men's game too.
I do not.
So Debbie Antonelli, this last weekend, had put together an event that she called 24 Hours of Nothing But Net. Now, this is to raise money for Special Olympics. Her son, Frankie, and she competes with her son, Frankie, who's a sophomore at Clemson, is a Special Olympic athlete in golf and basketball. So the way that Debbie decided to raise money for this was that she said she would make 2,400 free throws over a 24-hour period. She didn't sleep. She made 2,400 of 2,553 attempted free throws. Think about this. Tye, how often would you be able to make 9 out of 10 free throws if you're just attempting 10?
So typically when I shoot free throws, I'm about 7 or 8.
And that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all. She made 2,400 out of 2,553. That's 94%. She shot 2,553 times.
Your arms would just get dead.
I know, and she played 4 years at North Carolina State. I've seen Debbie around the SEC. She covers plenty of Razorback games. She's really good at what she does, but apparently she's a better free throw shooter. She raised $75,000 for Special Olympics by making 2,400 free throws, which, by the way, is an average of 100 made free throws for 20 per hour for 24 hours straight. That is stupid impressive. But for a woman who's great at what she does and is a great ambassador for the game of basketball in many ways, but this just raises her up to a different level. So for Debbie Antonelli, way, way, way up. Second down. All right, so I finished interviewing Dave Van Horn Saturday by the Texas A&M batting cages. He took batting practice indoors. So I interviewed Dave, and then I finished the interview, walk away, and in order to get back onto the field to walk back towards the press box, I've got to unlock a gate, which is a simple bolt, a large bolt, in which you got to put your hand fully around it, grip it tightly, and then pull hard to open the bolt, which I did successfully. So then I walk out this gate, walking down the warning track in front of the third base dugout, and there's Isaiah Campbell, and he had been in the pitching area. I guess stretching or just kind of stretching his arm out a little bit, and he is at the same kind of gate. And I say, "What's up, Zane?" He says, "I can't get this thing open." 6'4" Isaiah Campbell, 6'6" with the afro, is stuck because he can't open the same sort of gate that I just opened, and he can't figure it out. So he asked me, "How do I get through here?"
You're dogging him, Phil.
Well, I wasn't the only one dogging it, by the way, when I actually opened the gate for him, and all of his teammates in the dugout and pitching coach Matt Hobbs thanked me for saving their ace's life. That was their words to me. But the down, as I pulled this thing and pulled it as hard as I possibly could, the bolt caught the webbing of my thumb. Between the bolt and the thing that it slides inside of. So this was about 30 minutes before airtime. And the last thing you want to do before you go on a baseball broadcast is worry about patching up a large cut on the webbing of your thumb. And the trainer's not there in the dugout to show you where the bandages are. And I'm worried about setting my lineups in my scorebook and everything. You see what I put in my scorebook, and I'm thinking, well, first I don't want to bleed all over the scorebook, for crying out loud. So I don't know. It's rare that I injure myself at a baseball game since I'm not one of the players, but I did on Saturday, and so that was a down.
So one of the worst things I did, this is when I was playing travel soccer back, I believe I was in middle school, is those fold-out couches that have like the, not wire, but like really sharp, jaggedy not springs. I can't think of the phrase or the word that I want to use, but I stubbed my toe on one of those suckers, and just this huge gash of my toe is just like sitting on the ground, sitting on the apartment floor. Ooh. And so I go to I get up and get some water and then go back to bed. And my dad wakes up and wakes me up. He's like, "What did you do last night?" And there's just blood all over the hotel floor, like tracking in mud, and like all over. So like, oh, whoops! And then my sheets are just covered in blood. And I was just like in middle school at the time. I was like, "Sorry, Dad." So we had to clean all that up. But yeah, we'll story on that. Then I found $100. So Charles Barkley has made his lots of statements on TNT when it comes to this. And this is one of the good stuff. And I always like to bring up Chuck because I think he's hilarious. But Malcolm Brogdon, who's a point guard / shooting guard for the Milwaukee Bucks, has a charity organization, Hoops 2.0. It's like the basketball side of a clean water initiative. They build clean water wells. And Charles, he donated $45K on national television.
Yes, so I have a nonprofit organization called Hoops 2.0. I work with Chris Long, who runs Water Boys. We basically build clean water wells in East Africa and Tanzania. So every summer I go over there. I raise money through the season. I have 4 other guys in the NBA that are helping me raise money on different teams. And I'm trying to just raise as much money as I can to build more wells. And then I go visit the people in Africa and see sort of the impact it has.
How much does it cost for a well?
$45,000.
I'll give you $45,000.
There we go.
I'll give you $45,000 right now.
And
you should name it the Chuck Well. Make it extra big.
We can. We put the names. If you give enough money for a well, we put your name, and that well is named after.
Well, it's done.
He would go on to call Kenny the Jet Smith a cheapskate for not donating money on national donating money. I don't know if Kenny ended up doing it after or not, but that was also really funny. But yeah, thought that was kind of cool for Charles Barkley to do that, and he's pretty forthcoming with his money. He's made a lot of money over his career with different endorsements, obviously with Turner Sports, and then his playing days, and I thought that was a cool moment for him. We often laugh at his joking side when it comes to talking basketball and whatnot, but that was just a cool moment, and I thought that was cool. Other moment from this weekend that I thought stood out, and this is kind of an up or down. I was kind of going back and forth what to put on. Did you see Brooks Koepka not once but twice refuse a kiss from his girlfriend Jenna Sims, who is breathtakingly beautiful? For the guys listening to the program, if you're in your car right now, when you get back from lunch or you get to your office or wherever, look up Jenna Sims and ask yourself, would I refuse a kiss from her not once but twice? First of all, that is the ultimate power move, Phil. Like, for you to do that, and he's focused, obviously, he's trying to round out that last round of the tournament and win. He actually, I think he had 6 bogeys the last day, so he didn't play spectacularly, but he was still able to win. But my goodness, you know that doghouse group text that I talked to you about a couple months ago where my friends who have girlfriends would be in this text where their girlfriends would get mad and they would just put something that was just kind of crazy that their girlfriends did? He's definitely in that doghouse group text.
Oh my God, it's not a doghouse that he's in. He's in an apartment complex for dogs right now. He did that on national television. That's not a power move. That's a D move. That's a whole other thing.
Well, think about it like this. I don't know how you and the lovely lady look at public displays of affection. Most of the time, the guys are less inclined to do PDA than the girls. Now, that's not always the case. It depends on the relationship. But he's been quoted to saying that he's not a big PDA guy. Well,
I mean, there's a different level of PDA. I mean, if you're matter, making out and on public. I mean, she was just working her way in for a little peck, and it looked like she was just trying to give him a little kiss of encouragement for the upcoming hole.
They kissed after his win, so he got the dub, and then he kissed her. But think about it like this: when you're walking, I don't know, because you probably would. I was gonna say when you're walking to the broadcast, and let's say the Razorback Vision was shooting you and the lovely lady came over and she tried to kiss you, would you, in the heat of the moment, would you do it? Or
I would let her finish the kiss. There's no doubt about it. I'm not afraid of that moment, but I also don't think that she would be trying to, physically attack me on camera. It didn't look like, I forget, what's Koepka's girlfriend's name? Jenna
Sims.
I don't think it looked like she was trying to attack him. She was just leaning in for a kiss, and it was just like, here, go get him. It was what it looked like. But then when he refused the kiss, I mean, the look on her face, and she starts walking ahead. She's got the smile on her face, the look of, oh, I see. That's how it's going to be. Well, let's just see about this later. He's in a dog apartment. That's where he is. He's not in a dog house. He's in a dog mansion. It might take a while to dig himself out.
Hey, Phil, they kissed after the win. It's all good, man. It's all good in the neighborhood.
Yeah, but that's also the sort of moment that lives forever. Everybody will remember that one. Good luck, Brooks Koepka. He doesn't seem to be the warm and fuzzy type.
I would say you're probably right on that. I don't know as well, and I don't follow golf enough to give you a 100% answer. But just based off the things I've seen, I'd agree with you on that.
All right. So my third up is that I have been looking forward to, and I've been talking to you about this, Ty. I've been looking forward to the breakfast buffet at this hotel since the season started. I've actually been looking forward to the breakfast buffet at the Hyatt Regency, Birmingham, Alabama, known as the Winfrey Hotel, since the last time we were here 1 year ago. I've been looking forward to this for the last 52 weeks. This is the breakfast buffet to end most breakfast buffets. This is the baconiest bacon with the crispest edges, and this is the sweetest syrup and the most lovingly perfect French toast, and everything is absolutely perfect. I mean, it's like the coffee flows like water here at this breakfast buffet, and you could not ask for a better spot to enjoy a morning than the Hyatt Regency Birmingham breakfast buffet. And it's even better over the next couple of days when the other 8 teams that are staying in this hotel are all trying to make their way through the breakfast buffet. And it's a small area where they keep all the food, and you've got like all of these baseball players that are trying to wiggle their way in for scrambled eggs and bacon and French toast and pancakes and potatoes and all of that, and they got to keep it coming. Seems like it's a pretty tough job, but hey, I'll get here early enough that I can sit back in the corner with my 8th cup of coffee and my 20th piece of bacon for the day and just sit back, legs crossed, arms folded, watching the craziness in the buffet. And so my third down is more like an up because I'm going to gain 20 pounds this week from this stupid breakfast buffet.
Food baby, as Phil referred to it before we came on the broadcast. Phil, one of the bummer things, there's not a lot of bad parts of SC Media Days, but we don't get breakfast there, so I don't get to partake in it like you do. You remember the Max Keeble's movie I made you watch? Remember the food fight in that movie? Imagine if that was to escalate with the SEC baseball players.
For somebody asked me today, are there ever any pushing matches between these? Because, they look like they don't like each other when they're playing baseball. It would be pretty interesting if you had a bacon fight between Arkansas and Tennessee. We were the only 2 teams at breakfast this morning. It would have been really funny if biscuits and bacon would have been thrown around the room.
Man, that would have been great for social media. All right, my third up, Phil. Tebow finally got a home run, AAA ball.
Now here's Tim Tebow. First pitch, fastball lifted in the air. High and deep to right. Barnes is back. Warning track at the wall. Goodbye! Home run, Tim Tebow! His first AAA home run!
Phil, that is good, but dude's barely busting 150. You read off his stats. He's had 16 hits and 104 at-bats. It was his only hit of the day. It hadn't been great for Timmy.
It isn't happening. I mean, he has 17 hits and 43 strikeouts. You don't survive with about a 2.5 strikeout to hit ratio at AAA.
Last down for me, tornado in the 4th this week, and that was kind of a scary moment. I got a weather alert, several on my phone, and the sirens were going off on, I'm blanking on the day now. It was Saturday, and it was just a scary moment. I didn't see the cloud that was forming close enough to it, but I drove to the tornado shelter near our house off Zero Street, and then but I kind of saw some of the damage. We drove by it, and that was just kind of a scary situation. So that's my third and final down for the weekend, Phil.
All right, we'll come back. We got a little more. Well, there are some rumors, apparently, about Arkansas basketball. We'll see what that's all about. Halftime continues on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Missed a segment or interview? Check out the Halftime Pod at hitthatline.com. This is the Morning Rush.
We're speaking with Eric Musselman, the head coach of the Razorback basketball team right now on the Morning Rush.
We're going to be able to play with 4 to 5 shooters on the floor during certain stretches of the game, sometimes maybe 3 shooters at a minimum. So I think we're going in the direction that we really have from a vision standpoint.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9, only on ESPN 95.3.
You always get more.
Orr Chevrolet in Fort Smith is the River Valley's favorite Chevy dealer because they always put the customer first. Since 1924, the Orr family of dealerships have grown based on one simple principle. Give the customers more money for their trades and give them a lower price on their new vehicle. It's a simple concept, really, but one that very few dealers honor anymore. Hey, we know you originally paid a lot of money for your vehicle, and Orr Chevrolet wants to pay you the maximum amount for it. Then we'll give you an awesome price on a new Chevrolet. But we're not done giving you more. Included with any new vehicle sold, Orr Chevy will also give you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. So come get a lower price and more money for your trade today at Orr Chevrolet in Fort Smith, because
you always get more at Orr.
Now is the time to book your fundraising and corporate golf outings for 2019 at Eagle Crest Golf Course. Call Eagle Crest now before all the best dates are gone. 479-632-8857. Eagle Crest Golf Course, voted best of the best golf course 2 years in a row. Let their staff take care of everything, from help with your tournament as well as food and beverage service. If you're looking for a place to host your corporate or charity event this year, call Eagle Crest Golf Course. 479-632-8857. The new Harry Robinson Salisal Ford has a bigger selection with over 200 vehicles in stock, personal service from a staff that is ready to work with you, and an all-new service department that's friendly and will fix your car right the first time. This is our promise to you at the new Harry Robinson Salisal Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salisal, Oklahoma.
Harry Robinson Salisal Ford.
Get $60 back by mail on a Firestone Visa prepaid card when you buy a set of 4 eligible tires. Get up to $100 when you make an eligible tire purchase with your CFNA credit card. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.
Your Firestone tires are waiting for you at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith.
Valid now through July 8th. Restrictions apply. Card issued by the Bancorp Bank pursuant to a license from Visa USA Inc. The Bancorp Bank member FDIC and can be used everywhere Visa debit cards are accepted. Card terms and conditions apply. See store for details. All rights reserved. Subject to credit approval. The Bancorp Bank is not affiliated with CFNA.
Out here, you need to control your environment, or it may control you. You need the Kubota L2501DT compact tractor. It comes with all the easy-to-use implements you need. Get the L2501DT for as low as $139 a month with 0% APR financing for 84 months plus a 6-year warranty. Now through June 30th, 2019. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com.
Visit Gray Brothers Equipment in Fort Smith and Poto, where if you pick orange, you'll never get a lemon.
At Michelob Ultra, we know it's not just about how much you work out every day. It's about how much you work into every day, too. So we brew our beer for those who realize that expending calories should never come at the expense of spending time with friends. Those who understand that just because you work out doesn't mean you can't go out. And that's why we brew Michelob Ultra to have 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and a crisp, clean taste. Michelob Ultra, brewed for those who live fit, live fun, live Ultra. Enjoy responsibly. 2018 Michelob Ultra Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams of protein, and 0 grams fat for 12 ounces.
Halftime is brought to you by Orr Auto Park. Score more with Orr. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Kerstad, a drive to center field. That one is way back, and that ball is out of here. And Heston Kerstad has tied the game over 400 feet to the right of the batter's eye.
Rolling along halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Got some rumors swirling about Arkansas basketball that we'll get into in a moment. Before we do, though, Ty, tell them about Quantum Real Estate.
Yeah, we're brought to you in part by Quantum Property Services. Buying, selling, investing. They're going to encompass all your property needs there. Right now, it's the time to get in with Real Estate Pros and find your new home. Interest rates are low. That means you're going to get more house for your money, but you need someone to help you out with the process. Quantum Real Estate has seasoned pros that know their stuff, and they can guide you through the experience with confidence. If you ever thought about getting into real estate investing, they can do it all. They can find the right property or properties and make it hassle-free by managing these properties for you. Give them a call today, 479-434-6860, or you can go to their website online at quantumpropertyservices.com.
All right, Ty, so you put on our rundown here a little cryptic idea about rumors swirling that a player or two might still be leaving Arkansas basketball. Do you know any names of these rumors, or is it just rumors that there might be one or two who are still looking to leave?
You know, at this point in time, I don't know if it's wise to say the exact names, but because it's not 100% substantiated, but I would think that there's probably going to be at least one more guy or guys that are not on this team heading into next season.
Are these guys that had playing time last year, these players that you will miss, or are they really just roster filler that wasn't going to be on the court much?
No, and that kind of leads you to know who that is going to be. But I'm not going to 100% say because I'm not 100% sure. Just the more I'm hearing, the more connections I have to this, it just seems like that leans to be in the direction we're going. And that kind of leans into this 5-star point guard. And again, he would not be eligible for next season, but he is in the transfer portal. His name is Javon and I always butcher his last name.
Quinterly.
He's a former 5-star kid, 7th best point guard, and Rivals had him like 31st best prospect overall. He was a very good basketball player, and he didn't get much playing time in Nova. He just didn't. It was kind of a weird fit for Jay Wright because a lot of his guys are not necessarily blue-collar, but they're not McDonald's All-American 5-stars. He kind of develops them over time, and he has Arkansas, Bama, Georgia, and Pitt as kind of his last schools that he's looking at. And he's trying to make a visit soon. I'm sure Kevin McPherson will have a lot more people.
It's an interesting group of finalists for him. 3 SEC schools and Pitt.
Yeah. So you got a new coach at Nate Oates at Bama, Georgia, Tom Crean entering his second year, who's a pretty good recruiter. I mean, just locked in the either first or second, depending on what outlet you look back, guy in the country, and then Jeff Capel at Pitt. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting, but I think Kevin McPherson will have a little more information on this guy than I will, Phil.
So maybe we should go to Kevin McPherson. We'll do that after the break. Halftime continues. It's a Monday on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Missed a segment or interview? Check out the Halftime Pod at hitthatline.com.
Get lower payments with no money down during the Nissan Summer of SUVs event at Orr Nissan in Fort Smith. Like America's most affordable SUV, the 2019 Nissan Kicks. The Kicks is sporty and good on gas. And today at Orr Nissan, it's 0 down and just $318 a month. Looking for something bigger but still sporty? The 2019 Nissan Rogue Sport is 0 down, $326 a month. And the best-selling SUV in the Nissan lineup, the 2019 Nissan Rogue, is 0 down and only $362 a month. Plus, Orr Nissan is the only dealer in Arkansas that gives you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. So head directly to Orr Nissan at 6520 Orr Park Drive in Fort Smith under the giant American flag.
All offers are for financing. Payments based on 70 months and 4.77%. 0 down. Plus tax and license. Or NissanFortSmith.com for more details.
Nissan, innovation that excites.
Kick off the season the right way with a new RV from Crabtree RV in Alma. Crabtree is extending our RV show pricing all season long. Check out our spring show specials like a Salem 207 with a slide and bunks for $147 a month. And with RV show pricing, you can take up to $10,000 off of MSRP on new travel trailers and up to $15,000 off new fifth wheels. And we'll still give you more for your trade than the other guys. At Crabtree RV in Alma, where your family's dreams come true.
You know, a night out with friends can be so much more. Upgrade your evening at 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Rediscover life's simple pleasures. Dial back, slow down, and immerse yourself in what true relaxation can be. Top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Upgrade your night on the Avenue.
Evans Body Shop is ready to get your vehicle spiffed up for all the fun activities and trips that come along with the summer. Spend your days at the pool, not worrying about getting your car fixed. We'll do that for you. We will work with you and your insurance company to make the entire process easy. Follow us on Facebook so that you won't miss your chance to win Parrot Island tickets throughout the summer. Stop in today, 412 Portland Avenue, Van Buren, and you'll see why we say
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
Joe's Grill and Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half-price. And all beers on tap are half-price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina. 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
This one belongs to the Razorbacks by a final score of 14-4. A dominant performance for Arkansas over LSU.
Kevin McPherson covering all things basketball across the natural state. Good to join us pretty much every week these days as we get into more on the Eric Musselman era at the University of Arkansas. Kevin, always a pleasure. How's the start of your week going?
Oh, it's great, guys. You know, it's a dead period in college basketball recruiting, and yet we've got three updates today on class of 2020 Arkansas target. So it's with Eric Musselman, I don't know if there's going to be a day that there's any deadness to the program. There's something going on, it seems like, on a daily basis with those guys.
Well, first of all, how long does this dead period last?
Until the 24th. So just, a few more days into the week, and then that'll be over.
So, I mean, looking at the offers, it's still, this is the thing you pick up on from Eric Musselman. It's a wide net that you're casting, across the country, really, and it seems with the new offers, it's the same idea.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's amazing to me how much homework and vetting and analysis he does on players, and it goes beyond just seeing them in person or seeing them on film. He reaches out and does a lot of canvassing with other coaches at all levels to find out as much as he can about a player, in addition to what his own eyes tell him, and breaking down film and seeing guys in person, like I said. So, he really goes through an exhaustive process. So when you consider the sheer volume of offers that are going out and visits that they've set up, it's pretty amazing because of all the work he does on each one of those guys.
Yeah, and it really, that was something that Connor Vanover mentioned. We had Connor Vanover on late last week, and he said one thing that he noticed during his on-campus visit, and specifically in the meetings that he had with the coaches, was just how much material they had on him and how prepared they were. And it just, I don't know how, I always feel like most coaches I've been around are prepared and are organized, but I don't know. It's just from what Connor Vanover told us and what you're saying, it seems that Coach Musselman might be on a different level.
Absolutely. And here's the interesting thing. I've also tweeted out a few days ago the fact that I keep noticing all the social media use by Musselman. He talks to a lot of former Razorback players. I mean, if you go back to the glory years, back to the triplets and the first Final Four in the modern era under Eddie Sutton, and then, of course, a lot of the great players that came through under Nolan Richardson. But he has guys on campus for visits to come watch practice. He talks to them on the phone, and then he puts it out on social media that he has, I had a great visit with Oliver Miller. That's one example of one that was recent. And then he's also in touch with the current players, talking about potential coaching hires. Over this break, I think he talked to Mason Jones and Desi Seals. I know Desi's back in Jonesboro, but apparently Musselman was sharing information about coaching candidates with those guys and getting their feedback. So in addition to the recruiting part of aspect, he casts a wide net with, really embracing the culture of Arkansas basketball. It was once a storied program. You could call it a sleeping giant, but I think he's he's using smelling salts to wake it up, right? I mean, he's really, really reached out in more ways than one to embrace the culture and to grow it. He's hit the ground running, man. I mean, it's not even been 2 months, and he's really, got his tentacles spread out everywhere.
Talking with Kevin McPherson, Hogville basketball writer here on Halftime. Kevin, you mentioned the possibility of him talking to different players about the next assistant. Had there already been rumors? Have you heard anything about a former player or anyone that could line up to be Eric Musselman's third assistant at Arkansas?
A lot of names that I know about that he's talked to, and I've talked to some of these coaches. Most of them would love a chance to join that staff. We broke the story on Chris Crutchfield last week, coming in and taking over the associate head coaching role, which is the position he held under Lon Kruger at Oklahoma. A lot of credit given for his involvement with Buddy Hield and Trey Young, two guys that were basically arguably the top players in college basketball in the last few years. But, yeah, there's more names. I think one thing to keep an eye on is maybe they'll look at somebody that has some NBA experience. But there's a lot of guys out there who would love to come join that staff, and I know Musselman's doing his part like he always does in the vetting and interview process, and looking at his list and checking it twice. So it'll be interesting to see who will fill that third position.
One of the things Eric Musselman talked about is he wants to go after the same caliber of players that Blue Bloods are going after. And I know we asked you if he could compete with them from a recruiting standpoint, and you feel like he can. But one of the things we always just cast a wide, you said the phrase cast a wide net over, and I'm going to use it in this sense that it seems like Arkansas has really good basketball facilities with Bud Walton Arena and the new practice facility that's only been around 2 or 3 years. But compared to the likes of Kansas, Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, Kevin, how does Arkansas's basketball facilities stack up to the other Blue Blood schools?
It's amazing. I think Arkansas's facilities are right up there. Some of these other schools, obviously, they've got so much as being blue bloods. It's almost like they never miss a beat. So there's some things you're not going to be able to compete with in terms of, the historical vantage point. Not only, long ago, but, like I said, it's almost year in and year out. So there's some things there that you simply can't, stand next to them and say, we've done this. On the other side of that is, you're right, the facilities are great. I think a lot of people probably that have forgotten about how great Arkansas basketball was for a 25-year span, that really kind of connected parts of 4 decades. They probably don't think of Arkansas in terms of being the basketball school that it was and can be. And so when you get them on campus and they can see the facilities, Bud Walton Arena is not only one of the biggest, but still one of the nicest. It needs some updates. Still one of the nicest venues on campus in the country, arguably top 5 or 10. It's definitely in capacity. And then the practice facility, it's one of the best in the country. So I would say Arkansas facility-wise stacks up with any of those schools.
But it's different now than it was in the 90s, and it's different than it was in the 80s, even in the Southwest Conference, where Arkansas was one of the couple of few teams in each league that really put an emphasis on basketball and had the resources to fund the program in the way that kind of set it apart from the other sports. The SEC is different now, and I kind of feel like in basketball it might be close to entering the territory that it is in baseball, not where it dominates the national landscape, but that there are multiple teams and multiple programs in this conference that you could see rising to get to the level of Final Four and national contenders, where in baseball you got about 4 or 5 teams each year that feel like they're national contenders. I think in basketball, the SEC is in a place where there'll be maybe 3 or 4 teams next year that you look at the same way.
Oh, absolutely. If you just look at the last 3 seasons alone, last 2 years, 15 teams total in the NCAA tournament. 8 2 years ago, 7 last year. If you look at the last 3 seasons, you've had South Carolina and Auburn. Who would have thought of those 2 teams playing in Final Four? But that's what happened. You also had Florida in an Elite 8. You had Kentucky in an Elite 8. And you've got some really strong basketball in this league when you look at Tennessee, a team that reached number 1 during the regular season this past year. And even Arkansas had success under Mike Anderson. Not last year, that was an NIT season, but 3 out of 4 NCAA tournaments. And, up there in the top 3 or 4 record-wise in the league. And so we know Arkansas can take that next step. We know it. It's been proven in the past. Even in the last few years, it was starting to maybe inch that way. Musselman may just be that guy that puts Arkansas back in that conversation for, every year you're talking top 2 or 3 in the league, but it's not going to be easy. As you pointed out, and some of those numbers I just talked about, the SEC is for real in basketball. You look at the top half of the league, it's basically you're talking NCAA tournament, and that's 7 teams. And once you get beyond that, it's deep all the way down to number 14. We saw that last year when Georgia Georgia upset Texas, one of the worst teams in the SEC. Texas A&M knocked off Kansas State, one of the top Big 12 teams. So it's a deep league, guys.
What does it say for Eric Musselman or for Arkansas basketball overall to be able to get a coach like Chris Crutchfield to move from being an associate head coach at Oklahoma to the same position at Arkansas, and what does he bring as an assistant coach to the Razorback program?
Yeah, he's friends with Corey Williams. There's a relationship there. And I think, you're talking about a 24-year veteran in the college game. At last 8 years at OU, the most recent 3 is the associate head coach, as you pointed out. But again, I bring up Buddy Hield and Trae Young, the success he had as a mentor. I've heard he's a big part of what their success was at Oklahoma. Even though Trae Young was a 5-star, he was only there a season. He could have gone to just about anywhere he wanted to in the country. And supposedly Crutchfield was a big part in landing him at OU, but if you look over the arc of his career, he's been at Oral Roberts, TCU, some other stops, in addition to a little head coaching experience on the JUCO level at Tyler Junior College. But I just think when you're getting these veteran coaches, and he's in the footprint of the recruiting stage for Arkansas, right? We know Musselman's going to reach out nationally, but he has a real good feel, I'm told, for Texas recruiting. That could be big for Arkansas because not only you're talking about, there's so much talent in that state, and a lot of guys that are ranked in that top 100, but it's not far away from Arkansas. So, that makes sense to bring in guys that are familiar with the region and have had a success at the highest levels in recruiting and coaching.
Man, to have Chad Morris, 16-year veteran, the high school ranks for Arkansas football, and to have him possibly an assistant with deep ties in Texas, I'm sure Arkansas fans would love to get some Texas talent away from that state. Kevin, one of the questions I have for you that we kind of touched on, alluded to a little bit last segment, is about Khalil Garland. Kevin, straight up, do you think he plays and has a scholarship on the Arkansas Razorbacks this season?
I really think that's moving toward a medical hardship, guys, because it's been 2 years. I have not heard anything in the way of a clearance upcoming. I'm not going to completely close that door. That wouldn't be fair because I don't know better, and I don't know for a fact that he can't. But I think it's heading that way, and I think if you listen to Musselman talking about the fact that they're looking at maybe bringing in one more, I think it could be more than one, but we'll see. I think at least one more. There's no more scholarship room right now once Connor Vanover, Isaiah Moss, and John Tilsilla took up the three that were remaining. So something's got to give. That's the most logical choice. I'm not going to speak for Khalil Garland and his family at the University of Arkansas, but I think that's moving towards a medical hardship, guys.
And I feel like it's not just you, it's the rest of the Arkansas media. It's what I've heard. Like, no one's willing to come forward and say he's not going to play. It just looks like the trend and the direction it's going. And again, we don't have all the information. We don't have all the details, but that just seems like the direction it's heading. And one of the players that Arkansas might add, Kevin, is Javon Quinterly, former Villanova guy, 5-star point guard, number 31 ranked guy on Rivals this past year coming out of that class. What do you know about this kid? And I know he's narrowed it down between Arkansas and a few other schools. What do you think the chances he ends up a Razorback?
Well, I'm going to pump the brakes on that a little bit. There's a reason I haven't reported this visit that came out over the weekend. I've been sitting on that, and my understanding is that Arkansas may not have him in. But he's a former McDonald's All-American, struggled as a freshman at Villanova, played in 25 games, didn't play in 11 games. In the last 8 games of the season, including the postseason, only played 1 minute and didn't even see any action in the postseason. That's Big East tournament, NCAA tournament. So a guy that's supposedly down to Arkansas, Alabama, Georgia, and Pitt. A lot of other schools obviously interested in a McDonald's All-American, and he was also part of 17U Team USA a couple of years ago. But I'm going to pump the brakes on him ended up at Arkansas because I'm not sure that he's going to end up on that visit.
Did you see the story where Coach Musselman's son was booed at graduation ceremonies at Nevada? I don't remember his name, but I mean that really blew my mind away a little bit. And I saw the tweet that he sent out to his son, congratulating him on the degree and all the hard work, and saying, "We'll come back to Fayetteville, and it's time to work hard." He's going to work for this program, isn't he?
No doubt about it. He was a graduate assistant last year, Michael Musselman. You're right about that story that came out, but he will be joining his dad in Fayetteville in some capacity on that staff, and I'm sure he'll get some cheers at Bud Walton Arena at some point.
Okay, well, he'll deserve it because I can't even imagine getting booed at your own graduation ceremony.
Do you see what Muss put on his Twitter? He said, "Fans don't boo nobodies," and Reggie Jackson said that back in the day.
That's well said. Reggie also said he's the straw that stirs the drink. So he said a lot of things. All right, Kevin, always appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Yeah, good to be with you guys. Look forward to it next time.
Kevin McPherson, you can follow him on Pig Trail, AR Hoop Scoop on Twitter, and usually with us every week on Halftime. We'll come back, Cherry on the Top next on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Tye Sports Radio.
It's time for the Great American Sales Event at Dunn Ford Country in Stigler, Oklahoma. Get 0% financing on new 2019 Ford F-150 trucks or take up to $10,500 off new 2018 F-150 trucks in stock. How about 0% financing on all 2019 Ford Expeditions or take up to $12,000 off new 2018 Expeditions in stock? Don't forget, in Dunn Country, make us a reasonable offer and it's a done deal, my friend. Dunn Ford Country, 203 West Main Street in Stigler, Oklahoma, or come see us on the web at www.dunfordcountry.com. Is your home at least 10 years old and served by OG&E? OG&E is offering Arkansas customers a free weatherization program to increase your comfort and lower your bills. A trained crew will perform an energy audit at no cost to you, and if your home qualifies, our crews will install measures that will save you money. The services provided through this program are absolutely free to qualifying homes. If you could benefit from free home weatherization improvements, call OG&E at 1-800-272-9741. That's 1-800-272-9741.
741. Hey, I don't know about you, but this warm spring weather has me itching for summertime. Hi, Tommy Kraft here from my good friends at Burton Pools and Spas in Fort Smith and in Springdale. Hey, if you're itching for some backyard fun in your own pool this spring and summer, it's not too late to call Burton Pools and Spas and let them help you design the backyard of your dreams and still enjoy a full swimming season this summer. Right now, kick off spring with big savings on Doughboy above-ground swimming pools. Save $500 on your purchase of a Doughboy above-ground pool. It includes everything you need: pool liner, pump, filter, everything to start relaxing in your own backyard with Burton's. And if you already have your own pool and you are ready to start swimming this season, Burton's has all the chemical supplies and advice you need to make your pool water crystal clear. Call Burton's right now and ask about pool supply packages and get 10% off everything you need through the month of May. Plus, they always do free water testing at Burton Pools and Spas. They're in Fort Smith and in Springdale and always online at burtonpools.com. Burton Pools and Spas, your source for backyard fun.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling has a new owner, Andy Herod, and he is ready to make your auto body repairs today. If you live in Barling, Central, Lavaca, or Charleston, Colorworks is your local auto body repair shop. Andy provides superior auto body repair and paint work in addition to working with your insurance company to make your claim as easy as possible. If you have a collision and need repairs, ask for Andy at Colorworks, 1206 4th Street in Barling across from CV's, or call 434-2639.
Arkansas Fuel Injection in Fort Smith has been providing quality work for all new and rebuilt diesel pumps and injectors for over 25 years. They are a certified diesel shop with a team of quality technicians that ensure the highest quality workmanship and warranties all their work. They are open Monday through Friday 8 to 5 and has emergency service available 24 hours a day. For all your diesel pump, fuel injection, and parts needs, stop by Arkansas Fuel Injection, 6300 South 29th Street, Fort Smith. Call them today at 1-800-817-7709. Arkansas Fuel Injection. ProCare Family Health with locations in Bonanza, Chaffee Crossing, and at their new location in Poto. 1103 Dewey Avenue in Poto is your primary care clinic, acting as a principal point of health care to patients of all ages. Their emphasis is to educate patients about their health and how to maintain it throughout their lifetime. They are devoted to the best research models so that their patients can get the highest standard of care. ProCare Family Health can assist with weight loss, testosterone injections, diabetes, and cortisone shots. ProCare Family Health, dedicated to meeting your healthcare needs.
Get ready for the Great American Shootout. The 86th Annual Old Fort Days Rodeo returns Memorial Day through June 1st. Presented by Cherokee Casino. Come, experience the tradition of Arkansas's oldest rodeo. The return of freestyle bullfighting. Plus all the bull snorting PRCA rodeo action. Tickets are on sale now at oldfortdaysrodeo.com. The 86th Annual Old Fort Days Rodeo. The Great American Shootout.
We were on a break!
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
And this series belongs to the Arkansas Razorbacks. They have taken the first two from the LSU Tigers. And doesn't it just feel good to know that?
You know, I heard the morning rush this morning. I heard the last segment, and my friend John Neighbors just is. He wasn't happy. He wasn't happy last night. Not at all. I know a lot of fans who watch Game of Thrones kind of were left scratching their heads yesterday. And you know, I'm easy to please. Maybe I'm a little too easy to please, Time, when it comes to food, when it comes to movies or TV shows. I just kind of let the writers take me where they're going to take me. And I never really think to myself, yeah, I could have written something better. Like, you know, this would have been better if this happened, or so on and so forth. So, you know, I watched it last night, and I mean, I was okay with it. I don't think it was the best. I don't think it was the best finish to a great series, nor do I think it's the worst finish to a great series. So, I think most great series and most great shows, you're going to end up with a lot of disappointed fans, and that seems the case last time. John sounded like he was ready to tear up. I think because it's over and because he just wasn't happy with it.
Yeah, he's been relatively emotionally vested in the show for quite some time. I haven't been as much because I've kind of streamlined through it because I've watched it all now. But, Phil, I was thinking about it, and he brought up a good point. How many fantastic shows that you've watched over years have you just loved the ending? I can only think of one stood out to me, and that's about it. And that's kind of sad, but I guess we just heightened up our expectations too much.
Cheers ended up well.
That's
I
what he
love
said,
how
yep.
Breaking Bad finished. Seinfeld was iffy. The Sopranos was a little iffy, though the way that The Sopranos finished has generated so much conversation as to what happened. The thing with Game of Thrones, I don't know. I mean, it just seemed that they were trying to be a little bit too quick. We're not going to be too quick because we got 4 days left of halftime. For Tye, I'm Phil. Back with you tomorrow. Get up, get out there, and get better.
It's your piece of land.